What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to This Week in Wrestling, where we talk about everything wrestling. And I just got a tweet from somebody that I'm going to block in about 30 seconds. What a fucking idiot. Anyway, I wasn't even listening to what he said because I wasn't listening to Basement because I was actually talking. Sorry. So,
You said it before you started talking, but anyway.
yeah, well, I wasn't paying attention, so how about that shit? I was focusing on
my feelings, man, my feelings.
You'll be all right in the morning. We're going to talk wrestling. We're going to talk a lot about everything. I'm not going to talk about everything because goddamn, we'll be here until 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk about, because we get into a conversation, that's pretty much we talk. We're going to talk about all the happenings in wrestling. We will not talk about fucking Ring of Honor because I don't give a shit. We'll talk about the major promotions. Talk about AEW, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, New Japan. Ronnie's not here to talk about Impact, so
we're hoping she will be.
We're hoping she will be. And then there's a question, and I posed this question. I don't remember if everybody remembers the question that I asked last night when we got off the call, but I'll re-ask it again. Talk about a little bit of the news-ish. Do you want to talk about the news-ish stuff first, or do you want to talk about a little recap of wrestling? It's up to you guys. I'm open for anything.
Man, surprise me, bitch.
Calls me a bitch again.
Yeah, he's so wounded.
So,
pride.
Since Basement wants to be an asshole, we'll talk about Raw first. How about this? Here's my review of Raw. It was trash. Moving on.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so
we did.
It was pretty good.
We did. I don't even remember half the shit that happened on it. I just didn't care.
It's all just a major build, crown jewel, and that's it.
I mean,
yeah.
I know that Rey Mysterio was there. Wasn't he there? Was he at Raw?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Him and Shelton Benjamin got into the conversation. Who cares? I don't care.
I don't even know if I watched it.
I did not watch Raw.
We did, but we were more or less just shitting all over it.
I have not watched a Raw. I'm not going to lie. I haven't watched a Raw for like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
They should start giving out like chips, like the Alcoholics Anonymous do.
I think the last Raw that I watched was the Raw right after the last pay-per-view, and it pissed me the fuck off. So I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done for a while.
It's garbage. It's always garbage. It's always going to be garbage.
Never watch it again because it's going to piss you off.
I just can't sit and watch it live. Like I wait and then I can't.
I'm going to be honest with you. I can't even sit and fucking watch it fucking recorded. That's how fucking bad that show is. It is fucking utter trash. It is.
Yeah, it's gotten really bad.
It is fucking horrible. They're more worried about the entertainment because wrestling is good. And me and Basement and Gina and I think Dory and we were sitting here talking about it last night. The problem with these two fucking shows is that they're more worried about the entertainment portion of it. And I'm not saying that I'm entertained because I talked about this thing. Oh, if you were entertained by that, motherfucker, did I say I was fucking entertained by it? I did not say one fucking word about the show being fucking entertaining. And this is somebody on Twitter today. I never said one thing about this fucking being entertaining. I said WWE is more worried about the entertainment aspect of the show than they are the fucking wrestling. The wrestling is good. But if the entertainment value is shit, the wrestling sucks. It's horrible.
Amen, brother.
The thing is, you can have a whole bunch of really good matches throughout the night, but if there's not something that in that entertainment factor that grabs your attention, chances are you're you're not going to remember those really good wrestling matches because you're going to be so pissed about everything else that happened. Mm-hmm. So it's going to cause you to lose track of anything positive that did happen in the show.
Yep.
Nothing's at stake. And even when they put a title at stake, the titles mean nothing.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing is ever really at stake. And if there's nothing at stake, I don't give a fuck. These guys could kill each other in the ring. But for what reason? Fuck if I know.
Well, and right now, everything is just leading up to Crown Jewel. And it's like, it's kind of like this rinse and repeat bullshit all over again, just like last year when they were going up to Crown Jewel. So it's what's the fucking point at this point?
Well, it's why imagine that every Raw was basically in place to build up to a storyline that culminated a dark show or a house show. Because that's exactly what Crown Jewel is. And they put these two old fucking geezers making teams for some fucked up reason, and nobody knows why. If Hulk Hogan wins, what does he get? If Ric Flair wins, what does he get?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because Saudi Arabia gets what they want, and
what
they love the nostalgia acts.
Exactly, and the rest of the wrestling world is just so over it.
Here's the thing. I guarantee you that if these guys would have said, I'm good to go, chances are we probably would have had Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair in the ring.
Absolutely.
God, they both turned to dust immediately.
Well,
yeah, but because I'm sorry.
Sorry, they had even an opening ceremonies this week with a big parade and
no, that's an actual season. That's an actual season over there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So
it has nothing to do with WWE conference. They've been there 3 times now, and they've never.
So they just happened to have a float. That was the big thing.
Well, I'm sure WWE probably had a float in it because they want to show support for that local area. But
that's exactly why
Taker was on it. I was just like, oh my god, is that really Taker? Or is that an animatronic Taker? Because he just did not have any emotion.
Well, it's only good for WWE because if anything, they're expanding their audience. On this side of the world, we don't give a shit. I literally think Crown Jewel is a detriment to North American wrestling.
Don't get me wrong. I can understand. I can see the benefits to Crown Jewel, especially what they're doing in Saudi Arabia, because there has been a lot of change happening in Saudi Arabia. Okay, I will acknowledge that. And not only that, but yes, they want all these nostalgia acts, but we're in that aspect. Okay, take what they're doing right now with Taker and Flair, with the teams. They're getting they're getting their nostalgia, but yet they're also being introduced to new, fresh faces that aren't from 1996. So they are getting the new flush of athletes in there. So hopefully sooner or later we can eliminate the nostalgia acts that are going over there.
I just feel like to build up what's happening in Crown Jewel, they're kind of putting up their audience in a place that's watched wrestling on this side for a long period of time in a place we don't want to see. And they're not, in my honest opinion, they're not in any place to do that. The show fucking sucks. And now they're turning it into be even more shitty by culminating on a different part of the world for something that's literally everyone knows is just blah.
Well, and what I hate about this shit is they always build to Crown Jewel or the Greatest Royal Rumble or whatever. They build to that more than they do their actual pay-per-views. What was it last year with Evolution? There was no build to Evolution whatsoever because they were so concerned with fucking Crown Jewel.
You want to know why that is, though?
Why?
$200 million fucking dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you put money above your own pay-per-views that you're supposed to be building to,
WWE's been doing that for longer than even back in the Attitude Era. They did that.
Yeah, Mike Tyson, that type of stuff. They've always done this promotional garbage. It's just we're now looking at Crown Jewel culminating in a Survivor Series match that we're technically going to see again on Survivor Series because I know they won't fucking. They're literally going to copy and paste Crown Jewel into Survivor Series. How is that a big four? How is that a big four? Fuck off, man. I feel like the placement of these Saudi Arabian shows kill whatever they're surrounding.
Yep.
Yeah, because the first one is right after WrestleMania,
yep.
And the second one is right before Survivor Series.
And to me, if this was just something that they did and it was over there and it wasn't televised on the network, I really wouldn't give a shit. But the fact that they're putting it like on the network, they're trying to build it up so much for us to be like, ooh, maybe we'll get our viewers to watch it. And it's like, there's nothing you can do that would actually make me want to sit and watch it at this point.
Well, the problem is it airs like midday here or some shit. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I watch it. I do. I watch it.
1 o'clock on Halloween.
I mean, but again, it's midday on Halloween, so yeah, I will watch it. But it's one of those things where I'll watch it because it's available on the network. But it's not that big of a deal if I would miss it. You know what I'm saying?
See, I'm gonna watch it because I'm off. I'm off on that day, so I'm guaranteeing you, I'll probably get the first match, fall asleep, wake up at the end of it. That's usually how it goes.
It happens.
I mean, I think the thing I'm most angry about is the they kind of waste certain things. I feel like Crown Jewel needs to be one of those, exactly like what the originals were, where they put on a match that, like, it's not going to mean anything in the long run. But like, you put Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar on that, now I don't care about that at all. Because,
well,
is it really going to culminate in Cain Velasquez being a champ? And do I want to ever see that?
I don't know. I don't think that he's going to, but they did add a little bit to that on SmackDown, which I'm sure we'll talk about. So I don't want to give too much away. So they built a little bit on the storyline with that, which I liked.
I mean, they're building storylines, but Crown Jewel is going to be a pile of shit. I really don't think these pay-per-views, all these like one-offs, which are all the Saudi Arabian ones, even Women's Evolution, anything they do that's like a one-off, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Give me a show that's mixed, that weekly program builds towards, that has something at stake. This is what NXT's done. AEW was fucking doing this before they even had television shows. So come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is like Monday Night Raw, again, as you guys said, like it was building so much to Crown Jewel, and it's just like, okay, you're doing all this build, but once that pay-per-view happens, like there's nothing that's going to continue from that, and they're going to have to start
the whole
all over
pay-per-view
again.
will continue to
Survivor
Series and then happen again.
I can tell you what's going to happen from that pay-per-view. They're gonna redo the fucking Survivor Series match because that's essentially what it is. They're gonna do it at Survivor Series.
Yeah, Basement pointed that out before, but I also think that another thing that's going to continue is it's going to Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez is going to be at Survivor Series as well.
That may continue that. I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like that match is going to continue
just because of what happened on SmackDown. Like, I think one of them is going to lose their shit, and they're going to get disqualified, and it's going to continue.
I almost guarantee Rey Mysterio will get involved in some way. It's going to end in a DQ no matter what. Yeah, like I do not see the title changing hands at that shit fest.
Not this early.
They won't change the title there.
There's too much of a good storyline going. Not good, but good for what their standards are right now. It's a decent storyline. So there's if they end it at Crown Jewel, they're fucking morons.
Right. I mean, that's the major storyline going into Crown Jewel. On Raw, we're getting Seth Rollins versus fucking The Fiend. We all know. I know how it's gonna end, and I don't care. I don't care.
Here's my question:
Yes.
Why are we getting these two matches at fucking Crown Jewel when these two matches should be happening at WrestleMania?
Well, I was about to say, how would you feel?
Seth and The Fiend should have been at WrestleMania.
No, the first match between Seth and the fucking Fiend should have never fucking happened.
I would have only accepted it if I would only accept the Fiend going for a title at WrestleMania after he has multiple wins under his belt, and that I can get behind. But would you guys feel like so? Take the booking and the card for Crown Jewel and apply it and say it was Survivor Series. Would you be okay with that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean.
No,
I'd
be much more okay with it. Obviously, there's things I wouldn't like no matter what, but it's technically Survivor Series.
Yeah, with the Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair teams, is exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar, that is WrestleMania quality match. What the fuck?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
But again, too soon.
When you've got
what should have happened? What should have happened was Cain Velasquez should have been a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. And the storyline should have built from there culminating in a WrestleMania match between Velasquez and Brock Lesnar.
But if I had to book WrestleMania, I wouldn't have even had those two fighting for a belt. The belt would be on somebody else because they don't need a belt for that match. No. And I don't want to see Cain Velasquez as champion. I just like the moments I saw him talk on SmackDown. I don't know what the fuck he was saying. I am Todd.
I think it's better if it's not for a championship because that could really hurt either of them really more so. Depending if they win or lose, like I don't think they should have a title match for that. Like it doesn't make sense.
All these other people. They put the title on Brock Lesnar because Fox wanted them.
And that I'm fine with that. I totally get that. But then you shouldn't be having him have his first massive defense against somebody who's not even like part of WWE business.
Yeah, he is. Cain Velasquez is hired through. He's hired through WWE.
But I would have brought Cain Velasquez in, and for 6 months I would have kept him in the Performance Center. And I would have worked him out like they did with Ronda Rousey.
Should have been a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble.
That works for me too. I'm even okay with what they did and introduced him if it culminated at Survivor Series. Survivor Series has been lacking year in, year out, and it's one of the big four, and it never really has that oomph. It always seems like it falls flat. Well, so this would have been a good surprise for it.
It's an exhibition. So it's a fucking stupid exhibition game or exhibition pay-per-view between Raw and Smack.
I wish they would have brought it back to what it was like 20 years ago.
What I hate Survivor.
Oh God, 20 years ago, we watched every match was a Survivor Series match. I remember watching that shit.
No, not every match. Usually they'd have a tag match in there as well, and one women's match.
But
the one that we watched was every match.
Series was just nothing but 5-man tag. It's exactly what it used to be.
And for them to sit there and say that they had their very first one a few years ago, go back on the network and watch the very first Survivor Series ever. And, the very first match was a women's Survivor Series traditional elimination match.
Yeah.
Yep. Can I just say this goes to show exactly how interesting Raw was when we went way off topic.
I don't even know what happened to Raw. I think Rusev got arrested or some shit.
Yeah, Rusev went into a box suite. It wasn't a fucking restaurant, and beat up on Bobby Lashley.
He didn't even. They were pulled apart immediately, and it just ended with Lana screaming some shit.
He threw Bobby Lashley a couple times. He did. He threw him a couple of times, but
they didn't really do anything with the environment. I know, like, if they're gonna play it off like a restaurant, do it in a fucking restaurant and let them fucking tear that shit up. Yeah. I hate the whole storyline, but
Stone Cold and Booker T in a fucking supermarket.
Yeah, but they were.
That was a supermarket that was getting ready to close down.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying, I'm going with what Basement is saying is if they want it to look like a restaurant, have it actually be an actual fucking restaurant and destroy the place. I mean, don't destroy it, obviously, because you got to pay for it.
But the thing is, the feud doesn't call for it. The feud sucks. But if you're gonna do it right. And, like, if you're gonna go balls deep, man, fucking ejaculate.
Right.
Precisely.
I agree. Let's go to AEW. And
I like this show.
I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. Why in the fuck did Chris Jericho and his cronies have to buy a fucking ticket to get into the fucking show?
I mean, I think it's pretty much blatantly obvious that they weren't supposed to be there, but they definitely should have said at the beginning of the show, they should have explained.
There's a very easy way to get away with people asking questions about this thing, and I think they've kind of adopted the mindset where we don't need to. What we're showing you is what you're getting.
Self-explanatory, but
well, it wasn't because the last question.
Why does he need that ticket?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they have this mindset that like their stuff that they're doing is self-explanatory, but in a situation like this, you have to explain. Like, okay, why the fuck are their talents buying tickets? Were they banned from the show, or
that's exactly it? They didn't. That's it. The explanation that they could have given, and I would have gotten behind it. I still would have been like, well, that's fucking stupid. I would have been okay with, well,
because of the interference at the main event for last week, Inner Circle.
Yeah, that's
banned for the evening.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Like, it would have made sense if they would have said that, because they did interfere the week before at the end of the match. So that would have made sense. So but to not explain it at all? I'm sorry, Basement.
If you don't want to devote time in the beginning, because they wanted to start out with a match, which they did, to explaining that, you could have also said when they came out with tickets, work it in with the commentary to say, well, they're fans for the evening. You can't attack fans. And then that shit happens. And now there's a reason why they bought tickets to technically be untouchable.
Yeah. That's the thing. And not only, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. Okay. So what I was going to say is not only that, but them coming in, I loved what they did. Aside from that, I loved what they did with the whole Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle thing. I loved the whole thing, except for them not explaining. However, what I did not love is I did not love them coming in, interfering or interrupting a really good tag match, which is supposed to be in a very, very important tag match for your company. Yep. I didn't like them coming in at that particular moment. I felt like they should have come in during any other match, really, because they put so much emphasis on this tag tournament.
The way I would have played it too, if you're going to make them not interfere, but come in during the match and go up into the stands and take viewership away from what's happening in the ring, make them say, or put a mic in the box and say, who gives a shit about these guys anyway? We're the real deal. And that builds their character to be like, they don't give a fuck about the rest of the roster. And it kind of builds them as arrogant assholes, which they're obviously supposed to be. Does it hurt the actual match that's going on? But they're going to have to put that in somewhere regardless. And them coming out without a match going on doesn't matter as much.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just when they put as much emphasis, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a huge thing for me, but it's just they put so much emphasis on this tag tournament. And then to have Chris Jericho come in and all of the cameras cut to him, like all of them did. So you're not seeing what's happening in the ring, which I did see from like fans later on that there really wasn't much going on in the ring at that time anyway, because both teams kind of like not paused, but they slowed down what they were doing. Well, they slowed what they were doing to be like, what the fuck? Like looking at Chris Jericho. But I just felt like it took away from the match, and it wasn't necessary. They could have done that in the middle of a different match.
Let's talk about the tag team tournament. The first match was it the Lucha Brothers?
Yeah, versus Private Party.
And Private Party?
Yes.
All right, match.
That was a good match.
That was a good match. I like that.
Good match to open up. The right team won.
Yeah, and I think when we were watching it, we talked about it. Like they used to do this a lot with WCW, with having the cruiserweights start something high octane to get the fans ready to go, and then try to keep the momentum alive on like WCW, and AEW is more capable of doing that. So I like the match. I thought the high octaneness, and when we were talking about it, JP, we talked about having, you got three guys that can kind of high fly, but then you have that one more grounded wrestler in Pentagon, where it kind of mixes and matches. The whole thing wasn't just flips. You kind of integrated submissions, mat wrestling, and what Pentagon brings to the table is why he's so good.
Was that the first tag match, or was it SCU versus Dark Order?
No, that was the first tag match.
We'll get into that. To a couple of other things.
Now, right then and there. Okay, never mind. Continue. Sorry.
That's all right. So Lucha Brothers end up winning. Then what happened in between that? Remember? I forget shit.
I'm pretty sure this was like Britt Baker versus whatever.
No, it was SCU versus Dark Order.
Oh yeah, they went right after tag teams back to back.
And that's when Jericho and them came in.
Yeah.
SCU ended up winning. My only problem with this, and it makes complete total sense. Why did they didn't even Dark Order got a bye, and they didn't
explain.
Well, they did explain why.
Well, yeah, they explained why.
The match. They won that. What was it?
It was at the last pay-per-view. Yeah.
And my issue is they never built on the fucking fact that them guys got a bye. They got a bye. That was it. That was all that was said about it. I would have built on that a little bit more. Maybe
they were the fresher team, so they got the rest.
Well, I already kind of know what they're going towards with this whole tag team tournament, and it's gonna end up okay. So we already know it's gonna be Lucha Bros versus SCU.
Yep.
Which I really, really like because it kind of explains why Pentagon and Phoenix came out and attacked Christopher Daniels when the tag tournament first started.
Here's my problem with it. That kind of gives it away.
Yeah, it does kind of give it away, but I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I still had optimism of somebody else winning throughout their entire tournament. I just like how it's culminating. Like, okay, yeah, these guys came out and they attacked Christopher Daniels. So now SCU is they're gonna come out and they're gonna be irate, wanting to seek revenge for Christopher Daniels.
Right.
I would have had Lucha Brothers actually attack pretty much every other tag team.
Me too.
Yeah. And that would make it that much more like they're just fucking eliminating the competition. Yet, because the SCU have a 3-man team and they can deal with 1 man down, it could work in their favor. It would have made it less predictable, and it would still have the same effect of them kind of like,
agreed.
Working towards their win. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I know. I mean, at least they did lay some storyline for this match to mean a little bit more than the rest, even though I know they're working towards the tag team titles.
Yeah. And I will say, like, next week's going to be fun because, like, the Rock and Roll Express is going to be the ones presenting the titles.
Are they going to make it to the ring?
They about a month or two ago, they just wrestled in New Japan and they did pretty damn good. They teamed up with Ace.
Yeah, well, they're both 70 fucking years old, so.
Yeah, but I was so
anyway, I was watching them when I was 7.
Yeah.
I'm 40 now. 7. That's 40 years ago.
I thought she was 147. Sorry.
But I don't care about that. I did back in
when I was a kid. It's gonna be fun for me.
Well, I feel like for me, it's just like I'm drained of the nostalgia pieces. I mean, even like I love Jericho, but even Jericho is he's the biggest stretch I would go at this point in terms of I'm okay with it. Everybody, like I've seen these fucking ancient motherfuckers constantly.
The only thing that I really, really love about it is the Rock and Roll Express is considered one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So and they haven't been overexposed. They haven't been overexposed.
I'm just interested to see how AEW does handle bringing a nostalgic act and see if they're just going to be like, okay, here's the belts, say something, okay, and then done.
Or if they're going to. I would prefer that.
So that's what I want to see I want to see how they do handle it more than anything.
Just look at this last AEW. DDP came out.
I was just going to say, and if you look at all the times that any nostalgia act has been on AEW television, whether it's DDP or Blanchard.
Tully Blanchard.
Thank you. Or him or anybody else for that matter. Even Awesome Kong. Like, yeah, she was wrestling, but not that much. Asia Kong as well. She wasn't wrestling that much. A lot of their nostalgia acts, they're out there to get the pop, but they don't stick around for too long.
Yeah.
And I think they're just going to present them the titles and that's it.
Awesome Kong is
I hope so.
Awesome Kong is actually a coach. Yeah, I don't want to see him wrestle. See the Rock and Roll Express wrestle. Sorry.
No, they were great in that match with Ace, but that was also because the guys, I can't remember who they were wrestling, but the guys that they were wrestling made them look good.
But if they pull something like that and you now have these guys wrestling, that's a step too close to WWE main roster for me. Like, I don't want to see these fucking ancient assholes fight every regular superstars.
Right.
It's the one thing I really hate with main roster WWE. So
to your Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express is better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Regardless, they want to bring prestige to the title, so you're gonna have a prestigious tag team say, "Here's the title. We're passing the torch."
But Midnight Express will never be an AEW. There's one reason and one reason alone. Motherfucker!
Oh god.
Hey, I fucking love Jim Cornette is right. We're gonna talk about that motherfucker too. I talk about Orange Cassidy.
Okay. I love Orange Cassidy.
Hold on now. I do not, and I talked about this, I think, Wednesday. Did we talk about this Wednesday?
Right.
I have no problem with his in-ring ability. In fact, I think he is a good wrestler. I'm not questioning his ability. I'm questioning his gimmick. Why in the fuck would I want to sit there and wait for this? Somebody told me today, well, he needs to get pissed off. So you're coming to the ring to do what? Stand there and look like a fucking idiot? Makes no sense to me. If you have to wait to get pissed off to do anything, why the fuck are you in a ring?
I think they need to establish the other half of his gimmick, because all I see right now is this guy comes out and kicks people in the shins and gives halfway erect high fives. And it works for a little bit, but like there's only so much of it I can take.
Well, and a lot of the people that I know that know his gimmick know it really well, and I think maybe they're trying to rely on that too much, that he is pretty well known in the indies. Like, I know even out here he's pretty big, but it's one of those things, like, either people absolutely 100% are right behind him and this gimmick, or they're like 100% completely against it. Like, there's no in between, I find, with this character.
And I agree with you, and I'm 100. I do not question the guy's ability. I am sure and I know he is a very good wrestler. I'm not questioning his wrestling ability. Otherwise, AEW wouldn't have fucking signed him. But if I have to sit there and wait for him to get mad, I lose interest in his character. Why should I give a shit about Orange Cassidy? I don't. There's nothing to give a shit about. He touches the Young Bucks. Somebody told me today as well. Well, they did it it's a comedy act. Whatever. WWE does their comedy acts. I get it. If that's all he's going to be, so be it. But if they're going to do something with this guy, as over as he is.
But this is what got him over in the indies. His character is like super entertaining. And then when he gets pushed to a certain point, the wrestler comes out.
So how long does it take for him to get to that point where he's actually going to do something?
Well, the thing
sorry, Dory, you've seen him like dive through the ropes and shit in I can't remember what
I've seen 95% of the wrestlers in the industry dive through the rope.
What were you saying, Dory?
I was just going to say, like, when they said that they had signed him, they came out with a really cool vignette. And I was kind of hoping that they would do some more vignette work on him to kind of explain him a little bit more before they brought him on TV. But I think that would have helped a lot of people who don't kind of either don't fully get it or don't know who he is at all. I think that would have been a really smart idea.
I just can't get behind it.
Okay, so where I stand, like, it's weird because I don't stand on one side or the other. There's things I don't like about him, but there's things that I could see if they do develop him. They've had 4 shows and he's been on like one of them, I think, or 2. And he's never really been in a wrestling centric role. He's just there. So I'll see what they do with him. He's over with people, but this like, after watching Being the Lead, I haven't watched all of it, but I've watched at least half of it. This is what I've come to expect from the people that are running AEW.
It's a lot of comedic value.
It depends on what you find funny. And I find a lot of their shit to be like overtly cheesy, and I can get along with it for a bit, but if too much of the cheese happens, then I've got to tap out.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I am the exact same way. It's like I said, Tina's always said, he's a great wrestler. Hey, I know he is. I know he is. He's a great wrestler. Just like 95% of the other wrestlers that wrestle are great. But sometimes it is about their gimmick that makes them
90% of the time.
Yeah. That's the thing. And if I have to wait for this guy to get pissed off to actually fucking compete in the ring, I can't get invested in a character. It's not going to happen.
But I will say that they're not failing, because half the people like him, half the people don't. He's over in some way. You're getting a reaction. That's pretty much what wrestling is about anyway. So I'm not going to go in and watch. Fuck, man. I look at like Rey Mysterio. He knows how to wrestle. He's a good wrestler. I hate him.
But the thing is, I think like, as JP kind of said, like, sometimes when you don't really understand gimmicks, you're not behind the gimmick, at least you can be like, okay, but they're good in the ring. We haven't even really seen him in the ring yet. So maybe that will help when he's finally like actually wrestling and not just doing walk-ons.
But is he gonna? That's the thing. Is he gonna be stuck in this comedic gimmick?
I don't think he'll be stuck for that long. I mean, their shows right now are built up with building like champions because they have to be. They need to develop an actual belt holder, and that's why it's been so like tag team centric and stuff like that. But they still want to showcase him in something, and they're like, well, we're going to showcase the character that he is in hopes that people like the character before we actually showcase what he can do in the ring. And I think that's going to be a moment when it does happen, and I just hope it happens within the next couple of shows after this tag team tournament's over in the next one.
So I know that was a contention of people's things. I know it was a talking point on Twitter, and it was a talking point in just wrestling world in general. What are your thoughts on Orange Cassidy? I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I just wish he would show it instead of walking around with his hands in his pocket and tapping somebody on the leg. That's all.
Let me ask you this question. At this point, looking at Cody Rhodes, do you get because they're going for the Triple H vibe with him, of Triple H's character in terms of like being CEO and being, of a ridiculous high position, being that guy. Do you get that feeling from him or no?
I don't.
Not really.
I don't. I applaud him for doing what he's doing, but I would never compare him to Triple H.
I think that he is not like Triple H, but he's come into his own, and I applaud that. I applaud the hell out of the guy because he took what he was and completely turned it around and made himself. I mean, yes, WWE did make him, I get it, but he made himself into what he wanted to be and not what they made him into, which was basically Dusty's son.
But I mean, the parallels between him and Triple H are huge. Where everything that he's done in AEW is Triple H.
Yeah, I can definitely see the comparison.
Well, I mean, they're doing the man and wife head of the company type deal, the power couple. When he comes in, he gets all the bells and whistles, as opposed to the rest of the roster. So it's like I don't know. I see a comparison there. And in ring, like I've seen Triple H wrestle throughout his whole career, and Cody Rhodes he's been spotted through because he has been used the same way. But even in ring, I feel like they're similar in terms of like how they wrestle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I like what they're doing, and I mean, if you think about it, he kind of does have like, okay, Triple H had like his own little sidekick for a while, and Cody has his own little sidekick. And by sidekick, I mean, of course, they're major superstars themselves, but they're also the sidekick to the quote unquote big guy. And Cody has that in MJF. Triple H had it in Shawn Michaels, and Cody has it in MJF.
Well, MJF's going to be like the Padawan or whatever you want, like the fucking... Cody Rhodes is the master, and he's this like fucking what the fuck's the word I'm looking for?
Oompa Loompa?
Disciple? I don't know. He's basically trained under him, or he looks
protege?
Up to him. It's exactly.
Yeah, protege,
and eventually, sooner rather than later, he's going to. I honestly think Cody Rhodes might win the title.
I think so too, and I think that's gonna. We're not gonna see an MJF turn right away, but it will happen sooner or later.
Oh, people are saying the opposite. People are thinking
Cody will turn?
That Cody's going to turn.
Wasn't Cody's American Dream character supposed to already be a heel, though?
He's Nightmare. He's not the American Dream.
He looks like a heel. He looks like a heel.
Not only that, but if they turn MJF face, no.
It's not gonna
that could never happen.
I don't want it. He is such a fucking good heel. Keep him heel. So if you turn Cody, that's not gonna fucking make sense if you're gonna put him up against MJF, because MJF would have no choice but to go Cody face. Heel. Cody is like, I know he's technically heel, but he rides the line for me. Like he's
But
one of
is
those
he
guys that
really?
swings both.
But they're pushing Brandy more as a heel, right?
Okay.
So maybe that's
I don't know
Brandy-
what the fuck they're
Brandy-
doing with Brandy after
but-
that segment.
Brandy can fuck off.
But
I
oh
care.
my god, don't even But it's kind of like what Finn Balor said the other day in his TMZ interview. He said, "Am I a bad guy or am I just a good guy who does bad things occasionally?" That's kind of what I see Cody as.
Keep Cody the way he is. Let him be like in between, but a fan favorite at the same time.
Yeah.
MJF is an obvious heel, and he's got to stay that way.
He's got to stay fucking heel. He's so good.
Yeah, we'll get into him a little later as well.
Well, what about that Brandy Rhodes segment?
Oh my god, no.
I don't want to talk about it. Well, let's talk about AEW as a whole. I like how the show started, but then the second half of the show bored the fuck out of me.
I enjoyed
like
the
the show.
hell out of Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela. I loved it.
Yeah.
I've got questions
I
about that.
loved it.
Yeah.
I've got questions because, like, I don't think the match should have happened.
I agree.
But just
their
because it
second
was
match.
But
Here's
it's like the
thing.
second match
Here's the
took a
thing.
step back. How do you start at literally the match that happened in AEW Dark should have been the third and final match with these
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
not the first. You go from these guys literally killing each other to them just wrestling in the ring on.
But
It seems
What
backwards.
I loved about that match was the fact that we already know Kenny Omega is an amazing wrestler. Okay. But what I loved about that match was they gave Joey Janela a chance to show that he can wrestle too. He's not just hardcore.
So why not do that first?
I completely agree with you, but I'm just saying I loved the match for what it was. It was a good wrestling match.
I mean that's AEW as a whole. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. Like bored for me is Raw and SmackDown. I was not bored in AEW. I was not bored with NXT. Both shows did not bore me at all.
Mm-hmm.
But that match, it just seems there's things that I see in AEW that there's certain things I just don't understand from a booking perspective.
I understand them, but I don't understand why they do them.
See, and
Here's
right
my
now,
thing. Here's my thing. From what I've been told, and I've only seen Joey Janela wrestle a couple of times. Watch him wrestle, he's good. But they say he is a main event talent. If he's a main event talent, why is this match happening at a house? Hear me out. Why is this match happening on a TV show and not a pay-per-view? My question is, I'm sorry. We shit. And I don't care. I'm going to continue to do it until everybody understands where I'm coming from. People continue to shit on fucking WWE for giving us Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan all the time.
I did
like
not
that.
shit on that at all.
No.
I love it.
I'm not saying you, Gina. I'm not
No, I
saying
know,
you.
but I'm just saying I love that shit.
Why is it okay? And I'm going to continue to ask this question until I get a really good answer, because I haven't gotten one. When are we going to stop with the fucking shitting on one and not shitting on the other with this shit?
So with the example that you gave, I say I look at WWE and I see Ricochet versus AJ Styles. To me, because I know both guys, that is something that should happen on a pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Joey Janela and Kenny Omega, I don't put in the same class as that.
No, but I'm going off of what other people are saying. And
I don't think Joey Janela is a main event guy.
I don't think he's so either. I think he's a mid-carder at best. He's good.
Well, that's the thing. Like right now, with the size of their roster, anybody could be a main event talent. Look at Darby Allin. Darby Allin, normally he would be like a mid-card talent, but with the size of their roster, he's a main eventer because their roster is still pretty small. So they have no choice but to alternate the entire roster with main events.
In some cases, them putting out the win-loss record, this is what they're not using it correctly when they don't want to. What kills me, because I think with the win-loss record in place, this match makes sense for these two guys to fight mid-card. But when they then all of a sudden Darby Allin's not winning shit, and he gets. It's just like it seems like pick and choose. The win-loss record doesn't mean anything when you don't want it to. Yeah, like it's just confusing to me.
Yeah.
It is.
I will say this one thing that I'm really looking forward to coming up in the future with this company is a match between Jake Hager and the new guy and the new guy that they just signed.
I hope that never happens.
Are you talking about who I think you're talking about?
Gogurt?
The Olympian.
That fucking fuck that shit. I don't want to see that guy. Fucking is 150 pounds.
But I don't even. How can you say you want to say you don't even? You have never seen this guy wrestle.
He's a boxer.
He might be the drizzling shits.
Okay, but this is what I'm interested in, because like with Jake Hager's MMA background, he also has that background. So it's not just. It would be a great wrestling match once the guy is like introduced to everything and gets his feet on the ropes and everything. But it has that aspect of MMA in the background of it, so that interest, like that. I don't want to see it anytime in the future, because obviously the guy's going to have time to get built up and all that stuff. But
here's another thing that irks me.
Yep, and I know what you're going to say.
It's okay. This just irks the shit out of me. It's okay for AEW to go out and get these people, but when WWE does shit, I don't want to see that shit. Why are they bringing in people?
Didn't do that.
I'm not saying you, Gina. I'm not saying you. I'm saying all these other people. There are people out there, and I'm not. I know you don't. There are people out there that complete and utterly shit on WWE for doing shit like this.
It's too high of a double standard.
It's okay for AEW to do it. I do not fucking understand it, and I don't think it's fair.
Well, and the thing is, we've all said this in the past, that like this is something that not just WWE, but all different companies have done numerous times. I mean, how many times have you seen a football player turn into a baseball player, or a basketball player turn into a baseball player? Michael Jordan.
Never.
Hello.
Like, so rare.
Michael Jordan, O.J. Simpson.
He also became a murderer.
As an example. He couldn't hit a baseball.
I'm just saying, like, it happens in all sports, and for people to be like, okay, it's okay for this company because they're just starting out, but it's not okay for this company that has an established record. Like, fuck you, that established record company has been doing it for fucking years successfully.
Yes.
But also, like, the first time I saw this tweet was they were basically saying this is our first project, so they're looking at him as like someone that they're looking.
He's a prospect, yeah.
Yeah, but they said our first. I think it was Cody Rhodes that tweeted saying our first project. This is our sign. We're basically signing a guy outside of the wrestling realm. He's not an indie darling or anything. He's got a different level of, I guess, notoriety. And I mean, I'm not against it or anything like that. I just feel like what I didn't like is you don't publicize this after he's had a couple matches, maybe, because now you're building him up to be something he might never be.
Not only that, but I don't think that they need to be signing guys that have no wrestling background when they are just starting out like this. Like this is something that you do when you're established, like WWE when they first started the Performance Center. They had been established for how many fucking years before they started the Performance Center, and they started bringing in talent and training them. Mm-hmm. This is something like if you have an interest in the guy, then send him, which maybe they've done this, I don't know, but send him to a wrestling training school before bringing him in so that he at least has that amateur background.
Don't they have working relationships with some other companies? Put him there.
Well, Dean Malenko has a wrestling company, doesn't he?
But they have like working relationships with actual wrestling companies, do they not? AEW.
AAA. Yeah. AAA, China.
Put him there.
Yeah.
I just hate the idea of like building some guy up that nobody really knows anything about, never knew existed until this point. And you're kind of setting him up to fail if you want to publicize this. People are going to be like, oh my God, yeah, I can't wait to see this guy. Then he comes out and fucking shits his pants in the ring. Like, I don't want to see that. And it's bad for him too. Like, I'd rather them just like actually make sure he can work in the ring and then put that out on Twitter.
I mean, the thing is, Cody Rhodes isn't fucking stupid. Neither are the Young Bucks. I'm pretty sure that they've had this guy in the ring and seen potential in him, which is why they signed him. But the fact of the matter that he has, as far as I know, has yet to have an actual match. I don't think it's the time for them to be doing that.
No, I agree.
It seems like a lot of the things they do, they're kind of like pulling the trigger too fast on a lot of things. We'll see how it ends up, but I mean, there was a lot of talk, I think, after like the third show for them to be like, slow down.
Yeah, and that like I've actually seen like a lot of AEW like faithfuls too saying, okay, like they need to slow down. They're putting all their biscuits into the same bucket right now, like.
And I think a lot of them are not starting to realize, but are like, we have defended you, and then we shit on WWE for going out and getting these talents like this guy, and then you turn around and do it. You're kind of making us look like fucking assholes by doing it. And rightfully so, because they should keep their fucking mouth shut, because it is their fucking money, not the fans are putting the money into the company by going to these shows, but they're not forking out the money per se to pay the talent, if that makes sense. I mean, they are, because they're paying for tickets, but it's hard to explain, because yes, the fans should get what they want. If you aren't satisfied, like if you go to McDonald's and buy a fucking McRib sandwich, which they're back, by the way, just showing that off.
I've never had one. I never will.
I've never had one, but they just look fucking disgusting.
Oh, they're fucking fantastic.
They're okay. I like them.
No, take that back right now. They're fucking phenomenal.
But I think the crux of the argument is AEW made a lot to do about being different than WWE.
They made a lot of promises.
But they're also like hitting kind of the same strides at times, and not all the time, definitely not all the time. But they are, when they do the same strides, yet they want to have their cake and eat it too, and they've been acting like that since they began a TV show.
Yep.
With Kenny Omega coming out and bitching about fucking, you're putting on a show and we're putting on a show for charity. It's not for charity. It's for you and charity.
Well, technically. Well, anyways. Fuck, I forgot what I had a really good point and I forgot. So continue on.
Okay, Brandy Rhodes. She went insane.
Yeah, she sucked.
Finger of doom.
It was so weird, was it not? Like, I was confused by what the fuck was happening.
Well,
yes,
Brandy,
it was really
I don't
dark.
understand why she attacked a heel and acted heelish.
I'm not sure, and it was really dark back there, so like her face just ended up looking super weird.
Yeah, like, why are you talking to me?
It was 8 seconds long of something that made literally no sense to me.
7 seconds too much longer than it should have been.
Yeah, but I mean, what I was gonna say before is one thing that I will say when I compare. I don't like to compare, but when I do compare AEW and like Raw and SmackDown right now, one thing that AEW has that the other one doesn't, for me anyway, is they have the entertainment factor, because both shows have amazing wrestling. They do. Both shows have amazing talent. They can put on great performances, but AEW just has a little bit more of the entertainment factor for me right now than Raw or SmackDown do.
I wouldn't even really compare the wrestling with Raw and SmackDown. I'm not saying the talent or the wrestlers. What I get from wrestling is very different, because I find WWE wrestling to be paint by numbers. On Raw and SmackDown, it's literally paint by numbers bullshit.
It's like,
and it's
one like you can literally almost count it out, the steps that they're taking in the ring, and they know exactly what they're doing.
You can tell when a match is about ready to.
Yeah,
I could look at a Seth Rollins match. AJ Styles match. Because they and I know why they do it, because for the kids out there, they want to get hyped when the moment hits. For the people that actually like wrestling and will continue to like it throughout their life, it becomes boring as fuck. But this is how they sell toys. And this is why they do it that way.
When they started doing this, like a lot, was John Cena era.
Yeah,
like John Cena
but even before that, they did
it. And the FU or the attitude adjustment.
And I know Stone Cold.
They did this.
He did it.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Hulk Hogan, The Rock.
what I'm saying is like it got like major momentum with John Cena, because next thing you knew, the crowd, like John Cena would do that face, the you can't see me thing, and the whole crowd would go fucking nuts, and you knew that you can't see me was going to be followed by the attitude adjustment, and it was going to be over. My kid used to love John Cena. He used to fucking flip his shit every time that happened.
But it's the same thing with Rock and Stone Cold, though. Like, you could tell exactly what was going to happen, and the crowd would erupt because they knew the moveset.
It is the same. The problem is now it's applied to everybody on the roster almost. Yep. As soon as you become a name people know, you become John Cena. You become this 5 moves of doom asshole. And none of the wrestlers are 5 moves of doom assholes.
I mean, look at Seth Rollins. Perfect example for this. Because Seth Rollins with the curb stomp, okay? It used to be that you never seen him do that curb stomp unless it was a match that he was really, really fucking struggling in, and then the curb.
Well, they banned it for a while.
Not necessarily struggling. Yeah, but even before they banned it, like you wouldn't see him do the curb stomp unless it was to the point where he was so frustrated in the match that it was like, all right, fuck this, it's done. And then he would do it. And now all of a sudden we see Hell in a Cell. And how many times did fucking Bray Wyatt get curb stomped?
I think it was 11 times.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus fuck.
13, sorry.
18.
18. Oh my, no, 18?
Yeah, so I mean, like,
regardless.
Now we see Seth Rollins do a curb stomp on anybody else. And if they don't get up and do it another 17 times, then it's not believable.
Imagine watching a match with Randy Orton where he does 18 fucking out of nowheres. Like, it's not out of nowhere when it's literally back to back. It kills the move. And I used to think like for a while there, they were pulling off the curb stomp like it was a little bit like the RKO out of nowhere. Because it's a move that can be done in different ways. It doesn't always have to be me stomping on the side. Like Shawn Michaels' super kick. He basically adopted Shawn Michaels' super kick, but instead of going up, he goes down.
Well, and I will say this. I have noticed in some matches, especially, I'm sorry for all you Young Buck fans out there. I like the Young Bucks as well. But especially in Young Buck matches, I have noticed this pattern where you can literally see in the ring that they rehearsed it ahead of time, and that they're going from spot to spot to spot.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, okay, the last match that I seen it in that it was very, very evident was against Private Party. And Private Party, they're a pretty relatively new tag team. So they're not seasoned vets. Okay, like I didn't see it this week so much with the Best Friends. But Best Friends they're seasoned vets. They were wrestling together for years in New Japan. So, and they wrestled against the Young Bucks in New Japan. So you have that chemistry there. Even against the Lucha Brothers, you didn't really see the spot to spot as much because they were able to make it look and blend together. Private Party didn't do that.
Well, this is the problem I've always felt with the Young Bucks. It's like in a moment when I see them on New Japan, because I'm not like watching New Japan religiously. Mm-hmm. When I catch it, it always feels new or fun and exciting. If I have to see the Young Bucks every week, it's going to grow very stale because they literally hit the same momentum strides.
Yeah.
And when it becomes obvious that it's super choreographed dance more than it is wrestling, I'm not down for it at all.
Yeah, and I really, really noticed it last week with their match. Was it last week or the week before? I think it was the week before because it was the first week of the tag tournament, but I really noticed it with that match with Private Party, and it kind of annoyed the fuck out of me because I was sitting there going, come on, you guys. I mean, make this blend together a little bit more.
Right.
I mean, you even look at like the matches with like the big tag teams in WWE during the Attitude Era. You look at Edge and Christian, you look at the Dudley Boys and stuff like that. It wasn't choreographed dance.
Right.
Yep. Just because they fought.
And that's I do not want to see Cirque du Soleil in wrestling. I don't mind flips and I don't mind kicks, but if your whole thing is literally like we're gonna be on Broadway next week, I'm not I don't know how down I am for that.
With the Young Bucks, what I feel like they're missing right now is, I mean, I've seen it with the Lucha Brothers, I've seen it with the Best Friends, but with certain tag teams, I feel like they're missing that element of being able to get in there and get down to the grind and actually punching and hitting like they did in New Japan. Like a lot of it is just they go from high spot to high spot to high spot, and that shit's not believable when you're in there with a tag team that can't. They're not up to the same par as you.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to be able to get in there and mix up ground and pound with the high flying shit.
Wrestling is at its best when it's believable.
Yeah.
And that shit to me, like someone obviously when a guy jumps before like a leg sweep is done, I'm like, okay, this is fucking bullshit. What is he, fucking Jesus Christ superstar?
But anyways, yeah, AEW was great.
It was. I enjoyed it. Main event was okay, but the second half of the show to me was just they kind of NXT booked right.
Yeah.
They built the show, and we're gonna get into that. That's now.
Oh, real quick, did you guys hear or did you guys see on Twitter Cody Rhodes with the Dippin' Dots thing? Dippin' Dots named they made a deal with Cody Rhodes that if he doesn't shove anybody else's face in Dippin' Dots, that they were going to name Dippin' Dots after him.
Yeah, I saw that.
So the Dippin' Dots. They named the flavor Rocky Roads, spelled like RHODES. I thought that was funny. Come on, JP, smile.
I think we talked about this before. But
I love the
I liked that segment personally. I like
it.
I was able to look behind the fact that it didn't make sense what was happening.
Did you see them try to pull the cops to help too?
Hold on a second. I do want to say this for the question that I posed. That segment was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was a good segment.
I love the originality of it too, like the fact that he took MJF's scarf and like busted through glass to get to them.
Don't know.
I mean, the
really
Dippin' Dots, nothing.
But
well, the scarf breaking the window was original. The rest of it, I mean, I've seen it before, but it's been so infrequent that I definitely liked it.
Yeah. I mean, that window, that door.
Well, I hope he's not fucking punching through real glass.
Yeah, sugar glass.
Yeah, but it was still kind of cool to see. It was like the John Moxley spot through the coffee table, like
which was sugar glass.
Again,
I don't want to see anybody be fucking. I don't want to see anybody be DDT'd through real glass.
Oh,
you probably won't even break
it. The only thing that freaked me out about that table, I knew it was sugar glass, but it was the way that Kenny Omega landed on his neck because he actually landed on a bar from the table, like a metal bar.
He took that DDT as good as I've ever seen it being taken.
Yeah,
I'm just glad they're just not using kendo sticks for everything. Like it's different. So
yeah. But anyway, sorry, I had to bring up the Dippin' Dots. Go ahead.
No, that's okay, because I was going to talk about that segment because for the question that I asked and for the problems that I had with them having to buy a ticket, that segment was pretty good.
Well, the Ace disagrees with you, Gina.
Mm-hmm.
In the chat, he says that he disagrees with you about the boxer. That AEW signed only had a handful of matches in the Indies, while Cain Velasquez, who wrestled 3 matches for AAA, he's now getting a world title match. I don't really know, but
I get you, Ace. Like I do, but Cain Velasquez, have you seen his fucking video?
I don't think we're gonna see. I don't think we're gonna see go wrestle anytime soon. Anyway,
here's the thing. Ace, and I'm gonna say this. Do you know? And I agree to a certain extent with Cain Velasquez getting a title shot. But what happened the last time Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar met anywhere?
Cain Velasquez
fucking destroyed by Cain Velasquez. I'd give him a world title shot. Fuck it.
It makes sense. If your world champion is the one that lost to him on MMA, does it not make sense?
Makes sense to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's got to prove himself.
Yeah.
For the first time in forever.
I do agree with what Ace said. He said his the first feud with the boxer that AEW signed should be a dark match, definitely not for TV. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely should be like he should be someone that's brought along slowly. But I do disagree with them publicizing him being an Olympic guy and all that shit. Building him up before, like, maybe he's good. Maybe he knows how to wrestle. I have no idea. But
Yeah, who knows?
if he does, then that's good for them to do it at this point. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that he doesn't know how to wrestle because they called him a project. So,
right. Let's talk about NXT, shall we?
I love
Great
NXT.
fucking show.
Best show of the week.
For sure.
Best show
Absolutely.
of the week.
Absolutely.
I didn't. It built the show built to a crescendo. It started out. Who was the first match?
Rhea Ripley.
Was
Yeah.
that the first match?
Yeah.
I thought it was. So it started off Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair.
Bianca Belair.
And something's gonna happen where Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, and Candice LeRae are gonna get in the ring at some point, I think. And it might be a fatal 4-way or a elimination of some, one of those kind of matches where it'll be a 4-way elimination match. I wouldn't mind. But Rhea Ripley ended up winning. Io Shirai tried getting involved because of the altercation, not really the altercation, but the confrontation that Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai had the week before. So Io Shirai came out and tried costing Rhea Ripley the match. Well, Candice LeRae come out, pulled her off the fucking ring, and Bianca Belair tried to capitalize, and Rhea Ripley ended up beating her. Rhea Ripley, they made her look very strong in this match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they made Bianca Belair. Let's say this, and I think we talked about this as this match. Bianca Belair is still a little green in the ring, but she's getting better. I just don't like her fucking gimmick. She acts like a 15-year-old hood rat.
Yeah.
I'm going to compare her gimmick with fucking Matt Riddle. So
I compare her gimmick to like a 15-year-old, like a 15-year-old cheerleader.
Well, why I'm comparing her to Matt Riddle is like you got the gimmick outside the ring, but when the action's on, you're legit. I just think it works a lot better with Matt Riddle's character because her character is like despicable, and I don't know who she's relating to, but it's definitely not me, and it's probably definitely not like 70% of the audience.
Correct.
I mean, she like JP said, she is a good wrestler, and she's getting better and better and better as time goes on. She gave Rhea Ripley a run for her money, but Rhea Ripley is she's a force to be fucking reckoned with.
But I mean, the other problem too is Bianca Belair's gimmick is not her, where Matt Riddle's is him.
Yeah,
and I think that's the huge difference with these two. Like they both have a similar. We're going to be this way outside the ring, and we're going to be legit in the ring. But man, she has this disconnect where she is more of who she actually is in the ring, and outside the ring, she doesn't even care about her character. I feel.
Do you know what I think would go perfect for her gimmick? Is because she always acts kind of like she's kind of like a snooty bitch. So I think that if she would have one of those characters where like she dressed like kind of high class or whatever, and she just acted like she was better than everybody else, that would be a much better gimmick for her than this bouncing 15-year-old cheerleader thing that she has.
She kind of has that gimmick, except it's like the worst version of that.
Right. But what I'm saying is make it classier.
I agree with you 100%.
Steve, what happened after?
I think Matt Riddle's match was right after
Matt
this.
Riddle's match was next, and he wrestled.
Cameron
guy
Grimes.
Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, there you go.
Cameron Grimes.
That was a pretty good match.
It was a good match, but JP said it too. It's like you're looking at fucking Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole the week before versus Adam versus Cameron Grimes. You see the difference in the people he was competing against. Cameron Grimes needs a long way to go. I do not like his gimmick at all.
I don't even know what his gimmick is supposed to be.
I don't know either. People have
I told you guys it's a bad.
Yeah, I know, but like, is it really?
It is. It is.
Wait, how do you know this
Commentary-
outside of him wearing a fucking leather shitty jacket?
Commentary has said he is the rock star / country star mixed together.
But he's a country bumpkin backwoods brawler, I guess.
They really need to put some work into his gimmick because
they do.
all they've put in is in-ring work and they dressed him up weird.
Agreed. That match.
Matt Riddle's God.
He is.
He's got it all.
Amazing.
And one of my top 5 right now.
Yep, his gimmick is perfect for him, and that's huge. Like when everybody looked at the Attitude Era,
him.
Exactly. Everybody looked at the Attitude. Take yourself, but put it up to 11 or whatever. Like go beyond. Go into a place where you're overacting your own personality, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's one of the only people that I see do it nowadays in wrestling.
And what you touched on earlier, to Basement, was he has this ability to be so fucking chill and kind of goofy outside of the ring, but as soon as he it's like as soon as his fucking shoes come off, he is game.
Yeah.
Like it's game time.
Yep.
And he's fucking ridiculous in the ring. Like he is, in my mind, if not the best, he's going to be NXT champion very soon, I would say.
Yeah.
He is one of the best talents that NXT has right now.
He's one of the best talents in say in the
WWE.
world at this point in time in terms of wrestling because his
top
gimmick
5.
and his in-ring are just great.
He is top 5 right now.
Bro.
And I love the fact that he goes and tries to like fist bump after the match. But after the match, what happened, JP? You remember
Tyler Bate?
Oh, Tyler Bate. Yeah. Okay.
JP lost his shit on this one.
Tyler Bate. He knocked Cameron Grimes out with that fucking goofy fucking punch.
Yeah, he throws his right hand up in the air, makes him look up, and then fucking straight left.
Yeah, I know that one.
This match, the beginning of this match. Okay, so this match and the conclusion to this match was just perfect for me in terms of how you build a storyline off of literally next to nothing.
Yep. I can agree.
It's that easy. It's that easy. We don't need fucking Bobby Lashley railing Lana and fighting in a fucking restaurant. We don't need that.
Well, and even in the ring itself, after the match was over, Matt Riddle was trying to fist bump Cameron Grimes, and he shoved Matt Riddle away, and that's what led to him going face to face with Tyler Bate. So that whole thing told the story in itself. It was great.
And I love, like, he throws the fist bump out. He declines. He's like, all right, fuck it. Fist bumps everybody else in the audience and leaves.
So, yeah, I don't... What happened after that?
That's a good question.
I don't even remember, but let's get to the threat. Because
that might have been after that.
No.
I think
the women's match was after that.
What women's match?
Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox versus
Slenderman and fucking...
Oh, yeah, the broken knees for Slenderman.
That was kind of the down part of the night for me.
It was.
Okay, so Jessamine Duke needs like multiple sandwiches. I'm gonna say right now.
Yep.
She's just weird to look at her. Is all I'm saying. She's so gangly. If ever, like, there's this guy that like he's got that fucking disease. He's got this disease.
Slenderman?
No, he's basically Slenderman. He's got this weird disease where he like has really long limbs and they're all spindly and shit. And he's been in a bunch of horror movies. You might never seen him, but he was in the Spanish version of Record. He even was in one of the episodes of Game of Thrones as like some weird fucker. But she's Golem.
Yes.
And it's distracting to me.
It is.
Ever since you mentioned it, I can't unsee it. Like, it's just, everybody I've mentioned it to since, it's just like, oh my God, you're so right.
And she sucks at the same time.
Very terrible. Well, they ended up losing. So the winner of this match is Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox versus Marina Shafir and Slenderman.
You know, if she could use her, okay, she's got a different body type, okay? She's got muscle and stuff. She definitely has muscle. It's just like I'd like if she could use, it seems like she doesn't understand how to use her body. She's got Britt Baker syndrome, where it's like an alien is controlling her body.
But anyway, so Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai win, and Kairi Sane and Asuka jump on the Titantron or the big screen, and they start rambling about how they're going to beat up them two and whatever. So next week, if I remember correctly, Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai get to take on the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles. Which, what the fuck are they doing with the women's division? They still have this problem where the tag team titles are going, they only have one set, but they have two women's championship titles, which to me does not make any sense.
They're in an unfortunate place.
You're making it, and this is my philosophy. You have one world champion, and this is even for. This is why it's hard to explain. Because they have two different shows, they're two different brands, but they only have one women's tag team.
It becomes a clusterfuck for trying to actually book anything of any merit. The championship needs to be on one, either for one company or for one show when it comes to WWE. Otherwise, it's just confusing.
I honestly think they should just put the women on one show and leave it at that.
I don't think that, but I think that the women's title should be, or the women's tag team titles should become the NXT women's tag team titles. And then if any of the tag teams on the main roster want to fight for it, have them go over to NXT and fight for it, and then
I like that idea a lot, Gina.
Like, kind of, if they win the titles, then they're on NXT until they lose the titles.
I'd get more behind that because, even trying to think logically they don't want to put all the women on one show because then there's going to be outcry about it, obviously. I don't think it should happen either because I'd like to see women's and males wrestling mixed together. But I think Gina probably hit it right where it is on one show, but it incorporates all the others. But then you also run into the problem: how are you going to build a feud?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Anybody that wanted to challenge, okay, say I don't know, the Iconics won a challenge for the NXT Women's Championship, and let's say Dakota Kai and whatever Tegan Nox has it in NXT. Have those two come back to NXT a few weeks ahead of time, build up a match, have the match, and then if they win the titles, if the Iconics will win the titles, they are now in NXT until they lose the titles. And then you can take two of your other women and shuffle them to the other shows just for the time being that the other, so you're constantly moving women around.
It kind of goes against the idea of a brand split.
Right, but the only thing that I'm saying is you only take the women, okay, say a tag team from Raw wins. If a tag team from Raw wins, then they go down to NXT, you take two NXT women and you bring them up to Raw, not SmackDown, Raw, to replace them. It's always being replaced on the same show.
It's going to be, it will become problematic because then you kind of have to focus on bringing them back.
Well, that's the only
when the title is moved. It's the problem is there's
either that or eliminate the fucking title completely.
They do not have enough.
Okay, so that option right now.
The only way the women's tag team titles should work on Raw and SmackDown is if you take the whole fucking lot of NXT's women's talent and put them on the main roster. That is the only way, and I would never. I don't want it.
Either that, or you have to have it defended at every pay-per-view and only at a pay-per-view. Because then you could take a team from Raw and a team from SmackDown and have let's say the team from Raw has the titles. They defend against the team from SmackDown.
It kind of kills the purpose of the title because the title is technically the
title
mid-card
has no
title.
Fucking purpose right now to begin with.
I know, but the title is technically the women's mid-card. They've got enough women's roster on each show to have more than one championship, but they don't have enough to actually have a tag team. It's just they fucked themselves. Is all I'm going to say. Completely.
Here's the thing: they have enough women on each show, but the problem is when you start forming tag teams, then their individual women start suffering. Look what happened on SmackDown when those titles were first introduced. They barely had any women wrestlers that were single competitors.
Leads me to believe they do not have enough women. They don't have enough roster. The titles should not exist because they do not have enough roster to actually make it work in a way that it makes sense.
Get rid of.
I agree.
Get rid of the tag team titles for the women and make a mid-card title for the women.
Yeah, make like a women's intercontinental
and then treat it the same
something.
way. I would rather treat that. Well, do a TV title for the women and have it defended on. Make it be their. Go between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all you want at that point. But the tag titles, I don't know. It's just confusing.
Right.
I agree. I'll be right back. I have to pee.
So the very next thing that happened was the triple threat match, which was very good. Keith Lee is my god.
Insane.
Yeah, Keith Lee is my guy. I'm gonna tell you right now. Like I still will always say fucking Matt Riddle because Matt Riddle can work it on the mic. Keith Lee needs some help in that way. I saw him cut a promo and it was all right, but for his size, the guy is fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
Mhm.
Phenomenal.
Like you talk about super athletes. This guy's a super athlete at 300 plus pounds, which is something you very rarely see.
Yep. I just this whole match, Roderick Strong got beat up, but he showed his resiliency.
Yeah.
Dominic Dijakovic.
Mm-hmm.
He's also fantastic. But I think he's just a step below. Just barely a step below Keith Lee.
Well, I look at this match too as being like this is where NXT sets itself apart from most other things. It's just like they had the Matt Riddle match and this match I felt were booked as good as anything could be booked because they had a storyline going in with Keith Lee and Dijakovic.
Dijakovic, yes.
And then they inserted Roderick Strong, but the match still centered around a lot around Dijakovic and Keith Lee's actual feud that's going on with Roderick Strong as an enticing piece, which was the actual title. But they couldn't look beyond their feud to get the title, so it kind of it just it fused a bunch of different elements, and it also produced in rings something that was very entertaining.
Right. Yep. It was a very good match.
The right person won.
The right person won.
I did not like the finish, I will say. That's the one
it was kind of anticlimactic. But the right person won.
Yep.
Well, I can
Go ahead.
Tell you why the ending was anticlimactic because of what happened right
Well,
after.
yes, but I'm waiting for Gina to get back.
I know.
Well, I mean, the thing is, there were so many high spots and rough moves in that match to end with a knee and a finisher after Keith Lee was literally on a high. It kind of like, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me.
Right. No, I'm with you. Go ahead. Continue, basement. I got to take some.
I will say, though, that Keith Lee's athleticism is ridiculous. There was a spot in this match where Dijakovic and he had Roderick Strong up for a superplex, and Keith Lee got involved in that Tower of Doom. And there was a moment where it's like, if it was anybody else, this shit would have been botchamania. Oh, yeah. Instead, they like towered backwards, but because Keith Lee is so fucking big and he's so strong, he was able to power them back, both Dijakovic and Roderick Strong, from a point of failure to actually hit it. And when he hit it, the amount of effort he had to put in threw himself into the fucking ring. I loved it.
Right, I'm in agreement with you, and she's back.
Sorry.
What did you think of the match between Keith Lee and the triple threat? What did you think of the triple threat?
Oh my god, the triple threat, one of the best triple threats I've seen.
I even said that.
It was
one of the best triple threats I've ever seen.
Great. great. I mean, everything about this match was fantastic, from the timing to the fucking the moves. Everything just made sense, and it flowed very, very well. The athletes just did a phenomenal job in it.
Something we said while watching it that we haven't said yet is, okay, so you got Keith Lee, 300+ pound big dude. You've got Dijakovic, who's a tall, skinny, lean, well, not skinny, he's a tall, lean, muscular dude. And then you got Roger Strong, the small guy. They basically hit all levels of wrestlers, and they made it work really well.
Yep.
In showcasing them without none of them being lumbering shit piles, because they all are great wrestlers.
Agreed.
Yeah, they showcased every one of their individual talents, and right down when the match first started, like Roderick Strong was sitting there looking fucking cocky as hell, and that goes with his character so well. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh fuck," you know.
You look and you see the two guys start looking at him instead of each other, and it's like, yeah, this is Brazzers written all over it.
Yes, the whole match was just great. It was very, very well done.
Again, the fact that those three have such different styles and sizing, and that they could like meld in a match so well, like it was really nice pacing. I just really liked it.
Well, I mean, look at Keith Lee and look at Dijakovic. When was the last time you were that entertained by the guys of that size in professional wrestling?
They're breaking the mold of what a big guy is supposed to be.
And like Keith Lee, he reminds me, he's very, very similar for me anyway to like a Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Cobb is a lot more mat based, but I agree. Like,
well, I just mean like by doing
kind of
things that like you wouldn't expect him to do for his size.
I would even say like Brian Cage is kind of in the mix there for me.
Yep, same. Yep,
I agree.
It's just big, mobile, and that's like following the NBA right there.
Yep. So the match ends, and the undisputed rest of them come out, and they just start beating on Keith Lee.
And they only beat on him, which leads me to believe he's going to end up with a match, one-on-one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's ultimately where they're going to go. Tommaso Ciampa comes out.
Oh, God, I love the fucking moment of the week.
This is what made this show. This is what
the show was good regardless, but this just like elevated it to like nothing can touch it.
Tommaso Ciampa comes out. Okay, they're like, "Oh, come on, it's 4-on-1 or whatever." Gargano comes out.
Mm-hmm.
They're still like, "Oh, it's 4-on-2. It's 4-on-2. What are you gonna do?" Then Finn Balor comes out. Music hits. He stands in between them, and I could kind of tell. Even though I already knew it happened, I already known what happened. But if you watch it close enough, you could kind of tell with the way they were doing it that he was going to turn on one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was it? And
the right one.
Pele kicks. One of the best Pele kicks I've seen since AJ Styles. Since the first time I've seen AJ Styles.
And honestly,
it came out of nowhere.
And you know, honestly, Dory, you called that perfectly with the Prince Devitt thing, because I honestly have not seen him do a Pele kick that good since his Prince Devitt days. Like one of those ones that just come out of nowhere.
It's the difference between fucking main roster where everything has to be pussyfoot. Like everybody has to hit somebody with the fucking effort of a feather. It's like between like this is why NXT is as good as it is, because things actually hit and it makes it believable.
Yeah, like he still probably pulled back, but Finn Balor can definitely make it look like very, very smooth and like it hurts.
This is my problem. If you can do it, why not do it? It doesn't equate. There's no statistical evidence that fighting in a more strong style way equates to more injuries. Most injuries that people happen is a botched move or landing wrong, not strikes.
Well, that's the thing, is if you did that turn with Balor and you didn't have him do that and you didn't have him look as forceful as he did, it wouldn't have worked. It would have been okay.
I don't think the Pele kick was the thing that needed. It was the
but even the kick through the barrier though, like if he would have
that was
back on that.
Yeah, that was brutal. Like that was strong style, 100%.
So
Super brutal.
I see Takeover being one of their better. This Takeover is going to be one of their best pay-per-views.
Can
Oh,
we?
Is
yeah.
it War Games next?
Yeah. Can we discuss real quick that last move that fucking Finn Balor did to Johnny Gargano? Though, on the ramp?
Finally, that's the 1912 or whatever the fuck it's called.
1916.
Yeah, there you go.
1916. Finally,
Gina,
Dumbass.
how long
back.
have we discussed about him bringing back a
Oh
move
my
that's
god,
not
we
the
have
fucking
been
coup de
begging.
grace?
We have been begging for this shit for fucking like a year and a half. Just
I hate
please
to
let
tell you
him.
this.
I
I
was-
hate to tell you this. I still think he's going to use the coup de grace.
I
You know
know
what
he
though?
will.
I don't think so because why
No,
would they?
no,
I
no.
think
No,
they're gonna
he-
You know what?
he-
I don't give a shit if he does, as long as he continues to use that move as a signature.
But here's the thing: he always used the coup de grace. It just
Yeah.
wasn't his finisher. Like
It
it,
was.
sometimes he used it as a finisher, but most of the time he used something else as a
On
finisher.
the indies in Britain, that was his finish.
So
Yeah,
this is what I don't like. It like when he was on WWE main roster, his moveset was literally sling blade,
Sling blade, coup de
fucking exploder dropkick or whatever into the turnbuckle,
Yep.
and coup de grace, and
Yeah.
none of them except for the dropkick had anything of impact.
No,
He
I agree
needs
with you.
that
I
I
one
think
agree
move.
with you. But I'm
I
just
think-
saying he's still going to be using the coup de
He's
grace.
still gonna use
Yeah.
it, but
I'm okay with it as long as this is a move that's going to be part of his permanent arsenal. I don't know why they ever took it away, and I think they did because like the main roster is a bunch of fucking beefcakes.
pussies. Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
they're a
what were
bunch
you
of
saying?
huge motherfuckers. He's
again,
not
the
going to be able
fact
to do that with them.
the fact that they're trying to make him look a little bit more tough and they are changing his moveset, I think that's going to be really like he needs to do again like a whole 180, and I think that's what they've kind of accomplished.
We have
through,
been
like, 2
begging.
minutes.
We have been begging for this Finn Balor for so long. Actually, I remember begging for this Finn Balor, like that heel turn, ever since he went up against AJ Styles at TLC in 2017 when I was there. I was
So-
begging for a fucking heel turn
Do you-
that night.
Do you think WWE was kind of really cautious about it, and they're like, we don't know if this is going to work, so they brought him back
No,
down to practice there? like, to see
No,
what
I think that they
They
as soon
used
as-
him the way they wanted to. That was the most marketable
As-
way for him to be used.
Triple H had to build Vince up in order to make him believe that Finn Balor could be the man on the main roster. Well, he came up and he won the Universal title. He got injured right away. As soon as that injury happened, Vince lost faith in him. So after that,
I
he
think they
was
still-
delegated as a mid card, and he
But
was never
same
going
thing
to get
happened to
past
Seth
that.
Rollins.
He was never going to get past that until they brought him back to NXT.
I feel like with Finn Balor, he caught fire in other ways, where like the Finn Balor for everyone, he was all LGBTQ.
Mhm.
That is a demographic they want to get into, so they used him for that reason. Because though he might have made a good Universal Champion, he's actually getting us something that we need and want. So we're going to continue to do that with him. I love the fact that he's brought back. I love the fact that he's the way he is. Did you guys see that? I think it was on whatever the Fox show is.
No, I did not watch it.
I didn't get to see it.
Oh
but
my God.
I saw the TMZ interview where he said, basically the guy asked, "Well, are we ever going to see you on the main roster again?" And he real quirky. He said, "Wherever Finn Balor is, that's where the main roster is."
Well, that's
What
not even the
happened on-
statement. That's not even the statement that said it. He said, Raw and SmackDown, you can
This is the
hide.
Fox thing.
It's like Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
can
Fox thing.
hide.
Yep.
And NXT is like Broadway. You can't really hide there.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said basically the same thing. He said Raw and SmackDown is like Hollywood, with all the glitz and glamour, the lights and the smoke. You can hide. In NXT, it's like Broadway. There's nowhere to hide, and that was just
The
solidified.
true people
that
shine,
term.
and the ones who don't shine disappear.
Exactly, and but like I didn't get to watch the Fox the
That's
Fox
all
special.
you really know from it. That's the only thing I saw.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that, but just from the TMZ interview that I seen alone made me so excited for him down in NXT because like the questions that he was being asked and his answers were just fucking perfect.
So my next question is, and it was kind of talked about at the beginning, is Finn Balor really a heel?
Well, and he
Because
even said that himself.
Didn't one of you say that
That was me.
he's not He's just a guy that does bad things.
He was quoted. The guy asked him. He said, "So, what about this heel turn? Are you a bad guy now?" And Finn quoted. He said, "Well, am I a bad guy or am I a good guy that does bad things every once in a while?"
I think he's gonna be like complete. I think he's gonna be very.
You know what I'm hoping? I am hoping. Okay, so like we obviously saw the reference to his old self, which was major New Japan thing. Well, in New Japan and even in the Indies, he didn't come out as just the demon gimmick. Like he changed up his makeup a lot for pay-per-views and stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that we get to see that artistic side of Finn once again, because that adds so much more to his character. He already has enough to his character, don't get me wrong, but it adds that extra layer.
I want to see what his ring gear is going to look like.
Well, he went from literally having a bullshit character to actually having a character, and it's that quick. Which, like, this is why I hate Raw and SmackDown, man. Because they prove that the company knows how to do it. They're just not willing to.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dory.
I would have loved to see them do this when Finn Balor came back from injury against Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I completely agree, but it's never going to happen. Vince lost faith in him.
But again, Basement's right. They were never going to turn.
Not on the main roster. He made too much money. Like, he was bringing in all the kids and LGBT and all that stuff. Like, made too much money.
He was used for the agenda, which the agenda equates to money, and that's why he had to stay the way he was.
Yeah, but we talked about this, I believe, last night, but they could not have chose a better person for him to turn on.
Yep.
Yeah, because like, it was Gargano's the golden boy now.
And they built him that way. Yes. It's just like strike while the iron is hot without anybody knowing the iron's actually hot. I love it.
And when you... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, you saw the true raw emotion in the kids in the audience. If you guys saw that kid that was literally losing his shit and wanted to jump the barricade to beat up Finn Balor, like, it was that true heel turn feel.
But that's for me, I feel like that's mostly Gargano.
And well,
because Gargano is loved. Sorry, Dory.
But you know how hard it is to be that over as a face in wrestling?
Mm-hmm. What were you saying, Dory?
I was going to say, like, when Gargano said that he was going to stay in NXT when they announced they were going, on cable and everything, I didn't make a lot of sense to me, because I'm like, okay, well, Tommaso and him were already up. Like, why wouldn't he move? And now I know why. It makes complete sense. Like, all the stuff they had to do again where they were rehashing matches with him and Adam Cole, I get it. But now I couldn't picture them doing this with Finn with anybody else. Wouldn't work with Velveteen. It wouldn't work with anybody else on that roster. They need Gargano.
What I love is the fact that, like, I've seen so many people like, oh, move these people back to NXT. No, NXT literally does not need a lot of fucking main roster talent to come back. They are perfectly good where they are. Mm-hmm. The one person that they bring back holds that much more value because he's the one person that came back.
Well, and not only that, but Finn was, I'm going to say, the quote-unquote original NXT golden boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he gets called up, and then Gargano comes in, kind of takes over that spot. Finn comes back, and not only challenges him, but does a complete fucking turn of character. So you're seeing a different side of Finn that you never saw when he was first in NXT.
So, this just goes. Sorry, before we move on, this just goes towards everything NXT has done. It seems like they perfected what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything makes sense. You bring a guy back, you reestablish him in NXT, but you also reestablish him as a character that people haven't seen. You're not bringing back the same Finn Balor. You're bringing back Finn Balor with a twist. And that's what I love.
But you know why everything makes sense, Basement? Because in NXT, they stick to the fucking basics.
I also don't think the script's rewritten 900 times before it gets out.
But
there's not very much to rewrite.
Last thing I'll say about this, because I can see JP getting irritated. The last thing I will say is, hands down, this segment, my favorite moment of the entire week in wrestling.
Right.
Oh yeah, for
I'd
sure.
say in the past couple months, this is one of my favorite moments.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, the best match I've seen was Matt Riddle and
Adam Cole.
The best
Mhm.
match. I've said it. It's one of the best matches I've seen in 30 years.
When NXT is hitting best segment, best match, it's obvious what's the best wrestling going on right now.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, AEW has a lot of really good things going for
And
it.
AEW and NXT, love them both. And
Yeah,
fuck everything
AEW
else.
has good things going for it, but you can't compete with NXT right now. They have the best talent, they have the best supporting staff in the back, the best writers. They got the Attitude Era guys in the back fucking calling matches and writing scripts. I mean, come on.
You look at AEW, it's backed by somebody that owns a fucking football team. It's not the same as being somebody that owns a wrestling company. They know what they're doing already.
You do realize that Triple H is the one that owns NXT, right?
Well, Vince owns it.
Vince owns it. Triple H
Actually,
owns it.
no. If you watch the history of NXT DVD, Triple H, he started NXT with his own money, but it was through he got Vince's blessing to be like paired with main roster WWE, but it was his own money that started NXT.
Regardless, it's wrestling coming from wrestling history is what I love the most about it.
Exactly.
AEW is coming from wrestling history too, just not something that was built off North American wrestling history. It's something that's built off a lot of the indies and stuff like that, which is why it's different in that way. Whatever, I like them both.
I agree.
So yeah,
on to your favorite show of the night.
I have made a decision. I am not doing live reaction to either fucking Raw or SmackDown. I'm doing.
I wonder why.
Look,
but your reactions are so much more entertaining.
Be quiet, Dory. I watched 2 hours of SmackDown, and it felt like I was watching 4 hours of Raw. That's how bad it was.
It's so sad too. It's so sad because again, it was the storylines. I mean, the wrestling is, as we said a million times, the wrestling is always fucking good, but the storylines, goddamn, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah. Storytelling is sucking bad.
It's, again, the wrestling is good because you can sit there and I can sit and watch wrestling all day. I have no problem sitting and watching wrestling all day. I go and sit and watch high school wrestling all day. There's no storylines there. You can see that a storyline. If I can go to a high school fucking wrestling match and I can tell what the story is between these two, with how intense and how involved the crowd is at like state tournaments and shit.
Well,
and you give me a show that is televised and the production value that you have and these writers that seem to supposed to know what they're fucking doing, and you can't even fucking tell me a fucking story inside the ring without me wanting to pull out my dick and piss all over my fucking TV. Alright?
Oh my god, that analogy.
That's how fucking pissed off and how annoyed. Ask Trek. I was literally angry. Fucking pissed off and fucking annoyed Friday night.
I think the thing that's frustrating the most is SmackDown used to have some of the best execution for in-ring, and I think that's what's lost right now. AEW has good ideas, but it's just the way that they execute. They're still trying to learn, and NXT is just flawless with how they do go through things. So SmackDown is just starting to show like their holes in how they're executing things and how they're changing so many things last minute. Like you can see where things have been changed, and it's blatantly audience.
Fox came out after the ratings. They got that 4 million viewers on that first week, and then the ratings were declining. And Fox came out and said we like what they're doing. That just gave Vince the fucking go ahead. Okay, we're just gonna keep doing what we're fucking.
Yeah, and the only reason why they had 4 million viewers the first week was because The Rock was on. They advertised The Rock, and there was rumors that Undertaker and Stone Cold and all these other guys were supposed to be there.
Well, they were. It's just they didn't.
Right. Right, but when you have when you're saying that all of these guys, yes, puppy. When you're saying that all these guys are going to be there, you're going to get those. Obviously, it's on Fox, so the commercial that they had for it was like The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker. You see all these people, and you catch those viewers that haven't watched wrestling since the Attitude Era times, and they're like, "Oh shit, The Rock's coming back," or whatever. You're going to drop more people in with The Rock.
And then they watched it, and it was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think like JP's frustration is probably built on mine as well, where it's like, oh man, I'm gonna give them leeway because they're just like they're waiting for that time where they're gonna do a brand split, and we sat there and said, we're probably gonna see a couple months of SmackDown where it's pretty good. A couple months, man.
By the second show, it was
10
horrible.
seconds later, it was absolute trash.
No.
Well, that first show was good, but the next week already, it was
okay. It was passable.
It was passable. I would say the same. Like I would never use good with Raw or SmackDown. They're never good. A 5 out of 10 is the best they can hope for.
The second week was passable, and the third week, I'm like, really? And then last night, I'm like, this is just not. It's not. It was shit. It was worse. It was worse than Raw.
And ratings aside, everybody's always gonna be like, oh, the ratings, this and this. Like what WWE main roster is at risk of losing is the hardcore wrestling fan. Because there's better wrestling available for the hardcore wrestling fan with NXT and AEW. You lose them, and you're literally fucked.
I'm sorry, guys. As much as I'd love to hear JP continue to rant, I have to go.
Was actually done ranting.
No way. Oh, okay.
I
have to go.
There's nothing to really talk about. The only thing that came on.
All right, Dory.
Night, Dory.
Night.
The only thing that I got out of this show that I would say okay with, and even then I would say fuck this shit, was
the Bray Wyatt segment.
No. Absolutely not.
I loved it.
I fucking don't get me fucking started on that shit.
Like,
please.
So.
Get it started.
I was gonna let it fucking go. Rambling Rabbit. This is exactly how I look at it. What the fuck does he add to anything that fucking Bray Wyatt does?
Entertainment.
He's Kenny McCormick from South Park. He's just there to die every week and come back.
Exactly.
But how is that gonna help Bray Wyatt fucking beat Seth Rollins? What the fuck is a puppet gonna fucking do?
It doesn't help him beat anybody. It's just the entertainment aspect of his character.
Fucking see it. I don't want to
entertainment.
see it.
It builds the entertainment aspect of his character.
It didn't do shit.
I didn't see it.
It did for me. I liked it.
It's fucking garbage.
When your character is kind of built off of puppets, there might be a problem.
Garbage.
As soon as I saw him hold up the hurt and the heel gloves, and because I had my TV on mute because I was watching on mute so I could talk with you guys during it, which we're not to redo anymore because we're not going to do live reactions anymore. As soon as I saw him hold up the hurt and the heel gloves, I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to use it to heal Ramblin' Rabbit and say he's back for the day. I'm like, he's never gonna die. It's just gonna be running into the ground like the rest of the gimmicks.
But like, where's the okay? So if the heel glove is not going to be worked into like a wrestling angle, and I hope to God it's not, why does it exist?
I don't know. I think it was. Go ahead, JP.
The gloves. What if he puts the heel fucking side down fucking Seth Rollins' throat? He's not hurting him. He's healing him. The fucking
What if he grabs you with both hands at once?
Then I think you eternally combust. That's pretty much the only thing that would happen.
But it's like it's used in the moment for what they're doing, but it's not actually going to have
Here's the
anything
thing.
to do with the in-ring. I feel
with Raw and SmackDown, I have just completely given up on trying to figure out why anything that they do is supposed to make sense. So I'm just enjoying the entertainment aspect of it wherever I can find it, and I find Firefly Funhouse entertaining.
I enjoy not watching it.
That was the worst fucking part of that show.
No,
I enjoy not watching it.
Find nothing of entertaining value. And somebody on Twitter today, and I think I talked about this already, somebody on Twitter today said, well, if you like entertainment value, I don't know what to... I never once said that the fucking show was entertaining.
No.
People completely fucking just miss the fucking point on a lot of shit that I fucking say. There is nothing of entertainment value on these fucking shows. At all. Nothing. There's nothing entertaining about these shows. The wrestling is good, but the entertainment, I could do without.
It's shit. Yeah.
There was nothing entertaining about fucking SmackDown. Not a goddamn thing.
I agree, and then we get to a Lacey Evans match, like, I'm not gonna fight you, and she gets out. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew she was gonna get back in the ring at 9.5 and punch the shit out of the girl. It's like, what was the point?
What, did
she
you
gets
book
it.
the
She gets,
show?
I'm not gonna fight you, and then she gets back in the ring and then punches her and covers her. It's like, what would have been really shocking would have been if the girl had, like, actually gotten her with the move and actually won, and she could have, like, you didn't get me after all, or something like that. It's like, but then no way, we get the I'm gonna get back in the ring. I'm gonna punch you and knock you out for 3 seconds. Like, come on, man.
No, this is where that question comes in, but I wanted to do that at the end. So, and we'll talk about it. Well, actually, we'll talk about something else. I'll ask you guys a question. What since SmackDown was really complete and utter trash because the main event was essentially what we're gonna see at fucking Crown Jewel.
Hey, don't you remember the great? We're gonna show Brock Lesnar beating up Dominic and Rey Mysterio.
Oh my god!
But hey guys, we're gonna show it again immediately after.
Oh yeah.
No, the medical doctors that were actors, the actors that were playing the medical doctors, like, fucking are you fucking serious?
But also Rey Mysterio, what the fuck was he in, like, Passions or some shit? This guy is like, he's like praying to Christ and then touching him, and then praying to Christ and then touching him. Like, what the fuck? Do you, like, this is why I hate him, because he's an incomplete wrestler. He's terrible on the mic. He's always been terrible on the mic, and his in-ring skills, he looks like a fucking doll being thrown around.
Yep.
Well, okay, like that whole backstage scene or whatever. I liked the physicality of it with, like, obviously Brock beating the shit out of fucking Dominic and then Cain Velasquez getting back there or whatever. I liked all of that. But the acting of it was god fucking awful.
It was like a Bailey promo.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Oh, Bailey on the mic, that was another fucking thing that pissed me off on SmackDown.
Well, I think I wouldn't blame her for that. They were asking her questions, and she was
but I mean, it was just so...
What do you want her to do?
She was putting me to fucking sleep. Like, I get you're supposed to be a heel, but add some fucking attitude or something to your fucking character. Like, you're putting me to fucking sleep.
It's sad to say, but her face is her personality.
Which is fucking blank.
Boring as fuck. Like, her face is, like, dead while alive. Fucking potato fest.
Yep. Yeah. So, let's talk about this. So, of course, Seth and JR... I wouldn't say Seth and JR had a Twitter feud. JR actually said that Becky is more over than Seth is. Yes, that is true now. But at one point, and I'm going to say this, Seth was more over than Becky will ever be fucking over. When he beat Brock Lesnar, when he came out at WrestleMania 30 and won the title. He was more over then than Becky is now. So really, JR is wrong, but he's right in the moment.
In the moment, right?
JR is wrong. In my opinion, JR is wrong that Seth... That being said, he's talking about a character, but the fandom that Seth Rollins has is actually more than Becky. Seth Rollins is only saying stuff, and this is for everybody out there that shits on Seth Rollins. What the fuck do you want this guy to say? Do you want to say, no, you're right, my company sucks. Yours is the greatest ever. Shut the fuck up. Who in their right mind says something like that?
I don't think that it's what he's saying that kind of irritated a lot of people. It was the fact that, like, he keeps continuing to say it. Like, okay, there's a lot of people out there that are...
He was asked the question. How do you want him to answer?
No, I'm not talking about just in this situation. I'm not talking about just in this situation. I get this situation. But what I'm saying is, like, Seth Rollins has attacked AEW before with no provocation.
Yeah, but he was asked that he has never come out and just boom attack AEW.
Right? Yeah, I get that.
He doesn't tweet out and fucking say AEW sucks. They're minor leagues.
And this is that double standard type shit again, not by you, but by a lot of people, because a lot of people were like your WWE loyalists, okay? They were all pissed off. They were all pissed off at Cody Rhodes for doing the Triple H thing, okay? And a couple of other things that AEW has done too. And I don't like when either company fucking fires at each other. Just do your own fucking thing and don't worry about the competition, in my opinion. But
I agree.
As a wrestling
either do it all the time or don't do it at all.
If you want to, in my opinion, if you want to consider yourself an actual wrestling fan, then don't fucking jump on a bandwagon for one company. Be a fan of actual wrestling, which means that you are going to like something from one company, you're going to like something from the other company, and in between, okay? Mm-hmm. It's not going to be all partial to one fucking company if you're a true wrestling fan. Now, if you're a WWE fan, then you're going to be partial completely to WWE. Or if you're an AEW fan, you're going to be completely partial to AEW. But if you're a wrestling fan, you're going to like all of it. Well, not like it, but like parts of it.
But with what JR said, it wasn't an attack against the company. It was an attack against a specific wrestler. And it wasn't even really an attack. He just stated the obvious.
Yes. But...
Though the obvious could be looked at as an attack.
It could. So, and a lot of this... But again, these people that come out and say Seth Rollins needs to keep his mouth shut, he's not coming out and saying these things just, I should tweet out that fucking AEW is minor leagues. No. He is asked a question. And he is a company guy, so he is going to give a company answer.
And this is
does he deep down, and I know, but he deep down, does he believe that? I don't know.
We're not mind readers.
If he believes that, but he should believe that he is the best wrestler in the world, because if he don't, then why
is he there?
Fuck is he there?
Yeah.
But I also feel like Jared's tweet is like months late.
It is.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
Becky Lynch doesn't have that going on for the same way she used to.
This is why I don't like the companies firing at each other. Okay, like for instance, a couple weeks ago. Now, mind you, I loved it. I did, but I didn't like the firing at WWE. Chris Jericho, when he was all "We the People is dead," blah blah blah.
I literally
bad
don't.
Writing, all that. I love that he called WWE out on that. But in the same sense, and Cody Rhodes just did it again with the Inner Circle this week, actually, when he's like, this isn't like, unlike the company that we came from, calling out WWE again. WWE has done the same thing, but WWE doesn't necessarily really do it on live TV. They do it on Twitter.
Yes. Here's the thing with like what Jericho said. I will give a bye to him. Because it's live television, you're gonna say what you like, And even he himself, I think, tweeted later, is like, well, as a wrestler out there, you got to gain control of the crowd, and you're gonna say what you need to gain control of the crowd, and that's exactly what he did. I listened to the whole promo. I didn't really think it was like attacking anybody. He just basically said this is dead, and that's fine. I never really thought that way. But when you're gonna calculatingly go out and tweet something, that's different.
Well, but the thing is, okay, like what Cody said this past week. Now, mind you, I love it. I love that aspect of it when it's used as as a part of a storyline that actually makes sense. Mm-hmm. Then I love it. But again, to some people, what Cody Rhodes said this week could be a shot at WWE. So like, it just
I just
seems
the thing is, I think that they reference each other a lot, and that's not the thing is, people want to be drama queens.
Mhm.
Everything is a shot. When you talk about somebody, it's a shot. Everything's a shot. We're living in Harlem.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Nothing.
But I mean-
most of them are not. The only shot I've really seen is Cody Rhodes breaking up literally Triple H's fucking seat.
Yeah.
That was a shot. But somebody referencing WWE is not a shot.
Right.
No, I mean, it's just. I'm just so sick and tired of everybody trying to take sides and trying to tell me that I need to take sides because I'm not going to.
It's
because I'm not a fan of a
reinforcing.
single company.
This is
I'm a
the
fan of
problem. A
wrestling.
lot of what I see on Twitter and shit like this is just it reinforces that mindset. It's like, oh, we've got people that are backing AEW and hate WWE. We're on your side, man, and vice versa is the same. But it's like, what I see in politics is exactly what I'm seeing with wrestling right now.
Yeah.
You have to be on one side or the other, otherwise you're fucking a non-human being.
Yeah.
Totally agree. The reason I bring it up is because it was a point of contention again. It's been in all over. People have been talking about it, so I thought, fuck it, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts. JR, again, yes, he's right. Becky is more over than Seth now. But that's not Seth's fault, I don't think. I mean,
does that really matter at the same time? Because they're both world champions. It's like saying the SmackDown champion is more over than the Raw, and I'm going to chastise them for that.
Here's the thing. WWE purposely did that, though, because the moment that they had Becky and Maria say, you bring my bitch, you bring your bitch, and I'll bring mine, they purposely did that because Becky was on fire. WWE was smart. She was on fire at the time, so of course they're going to put her ahead of anything else.
But this is what I don't understand with JR's argument. It's like, so what? So what if Becky's more over than Seth Rollins? They're both world champions.
I think it doesn't actually matter. At his manhood, your girlfriend.
Okay. Oh, so looking at the way the world is right now, does this comment even make sense?
I don't fucking know. Whatever.
It really doesn't make sense, because if you're trying to belittle someone saying your wife is more over than you, it's like, well, fuck, man. The world's kind of gone that way, so it's gonna happen.
No, it really doesn't.
Well, and that's not a shot to Seth anyway, because if you remember, they put it in the storyline. Seth was talking about how proud he was of Becky and where she is right now.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so it's JR. What he said is just stupid anyway. But
I mean, I love JR, but I agree.
I literally don't give a shit about these Twitter things. It's like everybody's looking for a reaction to something. Why is JR, a guy who's literally stroking his way out the room, fighting Seth Rollins, CrossFit Jesus,
well,
literally cannot be killed?
You know what actually propelled that thing along was fucking fans that were tagging JR in what Seth said, saying, "Oh, I think he's taking a stab at you, JR."
The fans can lick my fucking anus, because I think the fans are the
stupid.
worst. Like, I hate wrestling fan base. I hate it.
But this
for
is
the
one
most
of the
part.
reasons. But this, honest to God, this is one of the reasons. Just one of the reasons why I love New Japan so much, because I honestly have not seen any negativity tweets regarding New Japan.
Oh, wait
So,
for
okay,
it.
so
Oh, wait for it.
here's the thing. You look at the American
will happen,
political
Gina.
climate. You look at the American political climate, and it's literally become part of everything.
Mm-hmm.
This, you have to choose sides, has infected TV, movies, everything, wrestling. It's there constantly. For some reason, everybody needs, like, if you don't have a war to fight, why not fight it with yourself? Like,
Right.
this is
And
what's
you know
killing me.
that-
It's there constantly with everything, and it's ruining everything for me.
Yep.
Yeah,
In terms of all those things, it's ruining entertainment. Because I'll watch a movie, I'll be like, oh, it was all right. I'll go online and be like, they were forcing women down our throat, and they did this and they did that. And in some cases, yes, it's blatantly obvious that they are forcing an agenda. But at the same time, it's like, man, the movie was made for entertainment purposes, not political fucking reasons.
Well, and not only that, but it seems these days that you've got a lot more of, like, people are on two sides. You have a thin line in the middle, But people are on two sides. They're either oversensitive pussies. They're either oversensitive pussies, or they're like the strong man type, where it's like, you can't hurt me.
This is where I disagree with you. I would say like what's being shown to everybody and what everybody should think, because it's being shoved down everyone's throat, is that people are on two sides. In reality, 90% of people are not.
Oh, I agree.
10% of the loudest fucking assholes are the ones that are like, all these people that want to like look through tweets to be like, oh my God, this person did this.
And that is what I was trying to say. It's not like the whole population is like that. It's just the tweets that you see and the people that are outraged, whether it be like they're outraged, like they're the manly man type, where they're outraged because this whole movie is revolving around women, or they're the oversensitive pussies that are like, oh my God, he got hit with a fucking steel chair on the head.
The thing that pisses me off is like when entertainment becomes what we're actually going to show is going to be directed to the 10% because they're the loudest. This is where we've all fucked up, man, because this is exactly what's happening, especially with we have to choose sides. Everything has to be a side choice. I don't agree with either of them. I think they're both stupid. JR, shut your fucking mouth. Seth Rollins, do the same. Yep. Show us what you can do in the ring. Make yourself an actual character, because I literally have no idea what your character is. Yep. Where I understand who Becky Lynch is. She's a wannabe fucking Stone Cold.
Right.
Well, Becky did have a response to that.
Yeah, she did respond to JR.
Yeah, she said she wants to fight the whole roster.
Yeah, she essentially
the whole women's roster. Yeah,
she essentially said no. I mean,
which from what I've seen is 4 people.
Well, the thing is, if you take, no offense to AEW fans out there, I love AEW, but if you take the AEW women's roster and you put them up against WWE women's roster, they'd be squashed.
Even Raw, SmackDown, or NXT.
This is Becky's tweet. Nothing but respect, JR. You're an amazing announcer. So go down to the locker room and announce that I would whoop your whole women's division any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Well, he's a commentator, not an announcer, but whatever.
Right. That's what she said. So, yeah, I agree with Basement. They both need to shut. The fans just need to shut.
Stop dividing people, man. Fuck it. I like wrestling. I'm gonna watch good wrestling. Stop putting this fucking bullshit narrative ahead of everyththing. Yep. Everybody should take sides.
No.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like I said, if you're a true wrestling fan, then you're gonna like something of every brand.
I shit on everything equally. Everybody knows that. So we got a couple more things. I don't know what happened on Unpack this past week.
I'm surprised it's still
Bound
active.
for Glory pay-per-view.
Who cares? We talked.
You bought it and watched it.
I watched it. I like it was not good, but it there were a few parts of it that I kind of enjoyed.
There was one good match on that show.
I mean, I liked RVD turning on Rhino.
Like I said,
on who? What?
RVD turned on Rhino.
Okay, so why is this match even existing?
Well, they were a tag team.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's the way it looks like. This is the same fucking gripe I've had. Like, I'm okay with Chris Jericho being that over-the-hill wrestler, being what he's being used for. I don't want to see it everywhere. RVD is done. So is Rhino. Like, they're done. Stop. Please, God, stop.
I agree. New Japan. What's going on in New Japan?
Right now we have been going through a few shows on the Road to Power Struggle. Okay. And I believe tonight, well, it's October 27th, which it's now, but I think that would be 4 a.m. our time, right?
Yep, I'll be in bed by then.
Okay, yeah, so the next Road to Power Struggle is tonight, and that will be the, I believe, finisher of the Super Junior Tag League tournament. And then we're working our way up to Power Struggle here. So.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Wendy's got that headband that she's got.
Oh.
She put it on and it went around her neck and she's going like this.
Nice.
Kind of funny. Now she's choking herself. You want to help her?
All right, Gina, do you feel like New Japan's like the kind of like the loser of the bunch?
I do agree. I will say
I agree, but I think that they are taking a positive step in making New Japan America.
that. Do we have to talk about this? Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just gonna say I think they should have done it a little while ago, but it's better late than never, in my opinion. And there are quite a few American fans.
Sometimes
over here,
it's better
so
never than late.
No, I think it's gonna be a pretty not huge success maybe, but it's gonna be successful.
I actually think it's gonna not do well.
Me too. Here's the thing, and I think we kind of talked about this. Here's the thing. Why are they coming to America if they're not going to get on TV?
They're planning on getting on TV. They're doing it in stages.
Where?
Right now, they're planning on Access, from what I'm understanding.
So if there's like 7 TV shows that sell tables, and I'm the 8th TV show to sell tables.
Yeah, but this isn't like, it's not like this isn't a well-established brand. I mean, New Japan Pro Wrestling has been a well-established brand since the 1970s.
Yeah, so but they will end up lower than Impact, which is what I predict.
I don't know, because if you bring over your stars, like if you interchange your stars, like Kazuchika Okada, fucking Naito, Zack Sabre Jr. I know you guys don't like him, but there's a lot of American fans that do like him. You know, they have a lot of powerful fucking talents over there. And if they interchange them, Juice Robinson, there's so many different talents that can come over here. And not only that, but they have the LA Dojo going. They have had it going for a while.
Here's the thing.
The LA Dojo has built itself up to have actual really good wrestling talent there. So they can be in the shows as well.
I'm going to look at movies, and when there's a really good like foreign film, America just takes it and remakes it. Takes it and remakes it. Yeah. And a lot of the audience is not willing to watch the foreign films because subtitles.
Well, here's the thing. They said that New Japan America, of course, they're going to come over here. They're doing it in phases. So, which I do think is a good move on their behalf, because at least, okay, phase 1 is having shows all over America. They're doing shows West Coast, East Coast, and Midwest. Now, if they see that the shows are not selling tickets, then they might back out of New Japan America. You know, that's where the phases are good. They're not just putting all their worms in one bucket, you know?
I feel like it's they're the last of the party.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the party's already started, and like they're kind of like, in my mind, it's setting themselves up for failure.
Did I wake you up?
It's not the right time for this to happen. The right time was long ago. They're just joining a bandwagon that's already left the fucking stable.
I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where we just got to kind of wait and see. I'm hoping it's going to be successful, because I would love to see New Japan here. I would love to be able to take my daughter to a show to see Okada, because he's her fucking favorite and she would lose her goddamn mind. I would love to be able to do that on like not a regular basis, but
if I know New Japan, and I think I have a pretty good gauge of what they're doing, the only way Okada would come over here if there was like a big pay-per-view or something. That is the only way I see him coming over.
From what I understand, the initial shows that they're planning on doing, they're going to have their big guys over here, like Okada, Naito. They're going to have some of the smaller guys too, don't get me wrong, but Okada, Naito, Juice Robinson, fucking Sling Blade. They're going to have a lot of their big guys. Bullet Club, you know, Tamatanga, Tangaloa. And that's all well and good. I'm going to say
100% failure.
Well, that's all well and good, except for the fact that like people are going to buy those tickets initially. Like if you have those big names, people are going to buy those tickets. But what happens when you start slowly taking the big names away?
Well, this is at least 2 years too late.
Yeah.
This is at least 2 years too late. 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 2 And the problem I have with it is like a lot of the people that got invested in New Japan were there for the people that are now in AEW.
That is true.
But that's another thing though. There have been a lot of rumors, which Cody Rhodes has not denied, and there's a lot of rumors that New Japan may be linking up with AEW.
But who does that benefit? In my mind,
if you think about it, it's going to benefit AEW, but it's also going to benefit New Japan if they're trying to establish an American.
AEW has already benefited from New Japan.
But the thing is, it's going to benefit New Japan a lot more because New Japan is trying to establish a broader American fan base.
So my question is, why would AEW do that?
Because hello, you've got matches, fucking Kazuchika Okada versus fucking
everybody he's faced.
I don't know. Not Chris Jericho, but like I mean, there's matches that would be great.
Well, what I'm saying is like if it's a one-way partnership, it probably won't happen, and that's the way I look at this partnership.
Yeah, but the only reason why I bring that up and why the rumors are kind of in my mind that they might be tilting towards a little bit true is because Kazuchika Okada actually in a recent interview he stated that he would be 100% behind New Japan teaming up with AEW because New Japan is no longer
sure he would
ROH.
But it makes more sense it benefits New Japan heavily, and I don't know how much it actually benefits AEW.
But I mean, you have a wrestler like Kazuchika Okada, who's the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he's for us, he is.
Yeah.
Right, but like you gotta look at like the fan base they're trying to get. So a lot of people won't even know who the fuck he is.
Yeah, but that's the draw to AEW.
Here's the thing: why would AEW want to share an audience with another rival company? Because that's ultimately what's going to end up happening.
And the rival company is actually going to benefit much more.
And the rival company, in my opinion, puts out better wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just rumors, but Okada has said it. Cody Rhodes has not denied it at all. So
I'm okay if they have a working relationship, but I actually love them to have a working relationship. It's just like I don't know if I see it happening. It has to be beneficial for AEW.
I know
that,
and that's why I don't know.
In the past, the only way New Japan will do this, because they've done this with WCW, they've done this with Impact. We'll give you this person or that person, but you give us something in return, and they never do.
We'll see.
And we have seen AEW pull talent, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, because they're doing something with that talent.
Well, and
it
sorry.
hurts. It hurt New Japan. New Japan has been hurt over and over and over again. Like they said, you give us whoever was big back in the 90s, Muda. You give us the great Muda, who is their world champion. But we would like to get back something in return, like a match. Yeah, we can't.
I just don't see the business aspect of it because I feel like it's more give than you're ever going to get with New Japan and AEW.
I don't know.
A lot of those names were built off New Japan.
But all I know is that Okada said that he would like to see a working relationship similar to what New Japan had with ROH.
Well, ROH really didn't have a leg to stand on.
I feel like the only relationship that would work is literally benefiting AEW and not doing much for New Japan.
I feel like it would work much better if they would make a deal to where they would like interchange, not like be together under contract or anything, but make a deal to where like some of the New Japan wrestlers can go and wrestle a match with AEW wrestlers and vice versa. You know,
it's like we're gonna put it on loan Moxley or Omega,
like if
and
you
vice
have,
versa.
I don't know, you have fucking, I don't know, let's say a Juice Robinson come over and wrestle against John Moxley, because we never got the finish of that match because of the typhoon.
But I also say it's the wrong time for that, because in order for AEW needs to solidify a roster, it needs to solidify a fan base. It's not the right time to just like bring somebody in for a couple matches and then they disappear.
Yeah.
But
I feel
that
like
would
it
be where
could.
they would solidify a fan base too, because if they linked with New Japan has a huge fan base overseas that they could latch onto.
They've already latched onto it.
But did they keep them though? Is the question, because a lot of people were pissed off at the Elite when they left New Japan.
So here's the thing: if you're saying they haven't latched onto it, and having Okada in 2 matches in AEW is going to make a lot of Japanese people watch AEW, they're going to leave when he leaves. If they're not already watching it, they're going to leave when he leaves.
That's true.
So I
don't
just
know,
feel like
but-
I feel like it probably won't happen. I just feel like New Japan's late to the party.
Yeah.
Things have already expanded. It's like you're trying to create the iPhone after the iPhone already launched 3 years ago.
Like I said, I'm hoping that it'll be successful, just because, like, from a fan base, like I said, Bella, she's obsessed with Kazuchika Okada. So as a fan, I'm hoping it works, because then there will be an opportunity for me. There will be more opportunities for me to be able to take my daughter to see her favorite wrestler.
I think by the time they're actually like in your territory, he's not even gonna be wrestling.
They're supposed to be in my territory within the next, like, what was it, JP, like next 6 months or a year or something?
I think what he's saying, are you sure that will Kazuchika Okada be there? I think that's the basis. I don't think Kazuchika Okada will be doing every single town.
Oh no, he won't be, but I'm crossing my fingers and praying that he'll be coming to Minnesota, because
I mean, regardless, I'm not shitting on the idea. I like the idea. I've always wanted more exposure for New Japan in North America. It's just I see like holes with it, and I will say they're gonna have a really they are the bottom of the barrel in terms of like how hard the struggle is going to be. They just don't have a lot of roster that's can relate to a North American fan base.
Me personally, I think phase 1 should have been, they should have developed a show and gotten that show put on, like, I don't know,
even that
TBS or some shit like that.
Even
like
that's it's too late. It's too late. There's too much wrestling as it is.
Yeah.
Like AEW, as soon as AEW announced they were doing a show, New Japan is not going to succeed doing a show. I really don't see it happening.
Way, but I think that would be another way that New Japan would benefit with the AEW thing, because more people would get exposure to the New Japan talent, and then they would be able to do their own show off of.
So I feel like AEW right now. Then. Okay, so in order to have like a working relationship, I feel like you have to be yearning for something, and I don't think AEW is in a place they need to yearn for anything at this point. It's too early. I feel like New Japan should have either acted 2 years before or 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But they just seem to like jump on something, and it just doesn't seem. Nothing seems like the right time for what they're doing for me.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. You know how I love New Japan. Right?
Yeah.
Best wrestling out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree with Basement. It's too little, too late.
They're entering a tough market.
What they're doing in Japan, and they come over here briefly, is fine. If they ever come near me, I am going to be hoping that they come. They ain't gonna ever come around me, ever, never.
Well,
it's never gonna happen. I don't have a town big enough that they're gonna want to come to.
But even if they didn't establish an American brand, you know how they come over here for like
Yeah.
pay-per-views or whatever. I would love for them. They do it on the West Coast, they do it on the East Coast, but you never see anything in the Midwest.
The
So
cities aren't big enough in the Midwest.
I would do it in fucking Kansas City. I would drive to fucking Kansas City for New Japan.
Milwaukee,
I mean, I hope
Milwaukee
to
is
see it.
bigger than Kansas City.
Then do it there. I'll drive to Milwaukee.
I hope to see it. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
The only reason I said Kansas City is because it's in the middle of the United States, so all of those surrounding states would be able to come. You know, the further down south you get, the more popular wrestling is.
If they would have done this before AEW did, I would have probably given them a chance. But
yeah,
it's just now. Good luck to them, though. I hope they succeed. The chances are slim right now with all the wrestling, because man, there's so much wrestling on right now. Yes, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, everybody, but good God, there's too much fucking.
I think that one of the main reasons why New Japan is actually doing this, and they said it themselves, they're scouting for new talent.
Well, of course. And if they aren't, they're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
So, moving on, I'm going to ask this question, and I asked this question last night. And we're talking about Vince McMahon.
Okay.
We're going to talk about WWE real quick. And then we'll move on to the last thing, and I'm going to show. How can someone who has had so much success during the Golden Era and the Attitude Era be giving us such bad content now? And that question was asked in my chat last night on SmackDown.
I don't think that. I think there's a lot of variables that are going into it. I don't think it's necessarily anything that's changed with Vince himself, but there's a lot of people that Vince has to answer to now. He's got a board of directors. He's got to answer to the fucking stockholders.
He is the board of directors.
The
director of the board.
Yeah, I know he's the director, but he still has all the other members of the board. You know, so like I get that he has to say so.
You want to know who the board members are, just real quick? Kevin Dunn.
I love him.
Triple H. Some executive or some woman. There's like 2 or 3 women. I think Stephanie's on the board. So they're gonna side with Vince.
What was the question? Because I had to pee while you asked it.
And we asked this last night, remember? How can someone who has had so much success in the Golden Era and Attitude Era be giving us such bad content?
But to finish what I was saying, I think it's not just the board of directors, okay? But like he's got to answer to the fucking, the stockholders. He's got to answer to the public. He's got to answer to the fucking TV people.
He's got to answer to the advertisers. That's
exactly. So like. When you factor that stuff in, and the fact that he seems like he's not as confident in what is being scripted, like he's not confident in his writers because he's constantly making them rewrite the shows at the last minute. Yeah. So he lacks the confidence that he had back in the Golden Age. Because back in the Golden Age, it was like he was confident in everybody around him, and I feel like he is lacking that support system in the writing department right now.
Well, he was the writer. He did it all. Him and Bruce
see, and that's another thing. Vince is, I don't know the guy personally. I'm sure he's a great guy, but it seems like he has a hell of an ego.
Well, of course he does.
So like, when you're talking about being the writer, just like one of the sole writers, like the main writer, and then having to give that up and trust other people to do it, that factors into the place too, because like he doesn't have confidence in them.
It used to be, and the writers, I know, but the writers used to be during that time, during the Attitude Era, it was Bruce Pritchard, Jim Cornette, Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
Then they brought in Vince Russo. Then it was Vince Russo, Jim Cornette, and Vince McMahon. Those were the guys that wrote the show. That's who wrote. Now he has like 35 writers, and then they have an assistant who helps them write.
I personally think that the circle has gotten too big.
It has. But Vince has here's the thing. And justifiably so with Vince at times. And I can understand why he is so
Stubborn.
against like rewriting the show. When Vince Russo left him the way that he did when he left for WCW, Vince himself said, I will never, ever give anybody the freedom to write for me again. So long as I run this show, everything goes through me. If it was not for Vince Russo leaving the way he did, Vince might be able to give up the reins a little bit. But because of what happened when that happened, he got fucked over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he has major trust issues now, which is what I was trying to say earlier as well. You know, like he lacks trust in anybody around him. Like he doesn't trust them to be able to write the show.
I actually think that what you're getting, the problem is what you're getting in the Attitude Era, you're getting today. But today is not the Attitude Era.
But the problem is, you can blame the fans for that because the fans were the ones that we want the Attitude Era back, blah blah blah. But then as soon as they get it, they're shitting all over it.
The thing is, like, they want the good things of the Attitude Era back. Okay, so the Attitude Era could not exist today. The world has changed. What the WWE hasn't really changed that much. No. For the most part, they're very similar to what they were. Certain things worked with but you also have to look at the way the world is.
But I would say that WWE has done a hell of a job changing with the world the way it is. Just look at the women's division alone. Look at the women's division.
They're late to the party for everything.
They are late to the party, but they're there now, is what I'm saying. Like, yes, I understand Impact and all these other companies were doing women's matches and fucking women's ladder matches, fucking intergender matches, all this stuff. I understand that they're doing that, and they were first to the show, but at least WWE has caught up, and they are, in my opinion, in that aspect, they're where they should be.
Okay, right so my question to everybody out there and including myself, we all shit on the main roster. It's like, but your audience, you have no idea really what your audience is anymore, because with the world divided in terms of your audience, you have no idea how to approach anything. You can't be risky because you might be too risky. Yeah. You can't play it safe because you might be too safe.
And WWE is such a big company that they get scrutinized 10 times more than, say, Impact or something like that, you know?
Even in the Attitude Era, here's the thing. A lot of their numbers existed because there wasn't other platforms to watch them on. The numbers that they get in Nielsen rating is not their numbers, okay? Literally, it's not their numbers. But you look at the Attitude Era, it was before people were watching it illegally. It was before people were watching it recorded. It was before any of this shit. But at the same time, they were adhering to a demographic that was all on the same page. Yep. And now, even if the demographic is widened, nobody is on the same page.
Perfect example of that, in my opinion anyway, is, if you remember back last year, Royal Rumble time, everybody was wanting WWE to do intergender matches, right? And then what happened? Royal Rumble came, Nia Jax came out, she knocked out I can't remember who the fuck she knocked out.
She didn't knock anybody out. She just
she took the spot of somebody.
Oh no,
she did knock somebody out.
Yeah, she took somebody's spot.
Yeah.
She took out R-Truth.
R-Truth, that's what it was. Yeah, so she knocks out R-Truth, and then she goes and she gets in the ring. What happens? Randy Orton RKO's her. Immediately, Twitter just erupted. I can't believe they let him beat her like that, blah, blah. What the fuck do you think an intergender match is? It's not just going to be the man laying down for the woman. They fight.
This is the same conversation we had 20 minutes ago. It's exactly what the problem is. Because you can't be edgy and you can't be surprising if you're going to alienate half your audience. Because everybody seems to think that with the loudest 10% choosing sides, then I must choose sides.
Well, and the thing is, WWE, they were inching towards the intergender matches, if you remember, because they were doing the mixed tag matches, and then they had the Nia thing come up, and then what happened? The fans erupted negatively about what happened with Nia and Randy Orton, and they immediately stopped any kind of intergender shit. Immediately stopped.
So with the question that was posed, is like, how can somebody that was so successful during he hasn't changed. The world has changed.
Yeah.
And he has to adhere to it because of that. So you might want to point fingers at the man, which is Vince McMahon. You might want to point fingers at him, but it's not like he has changed. He just did his best with what he's being offered at this point in time. It's a shit show because the world is shit. What is happening now? The society is like fucked at this point. Nobody knows anything. Everything's confused.
You're seeing this little by little coming out with AEW, because what happened when AEW first came out, those first 2 shows, they left everybody happy. They gave everybody what they wanted. And then last week, with the show ending the way it did, you looked on Twitter and people were irate with the ending the way it did, even though it made sense for it to end the way that it did.
So if our society
it ended without them being happy.
If our society can't choose what's a woman and a man, everything else can be fucked. Like if the like things that everybody knew that were the most basics and we can apply, like nothing makes sense anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And why, like, how did Vince McMahon make this company? No. The world made this company shit. I mean, you're looking at everything else. All they're doing is adhering to their audience, which is everybody else.
It's exactly what Hollywood is doing. Hollywood's doing the exact same fucking thing.
Well, WWE, late to the party. They are, but they're entertainment based. Anything that's happening entertaining, they have to jump bandwagon on. And entertainment is... I'm confused by 99% of what's happening in the world.
I agreed. Yeah, but again, like Basement said, and I totally agree. It's the crux of the world. It's what's going on in the world today, what WWE does. They are about pop culture. That is how they book their show. So, like, if there was a war going on, they would build a character is the bad guy that the United States is fighting against. They did this.
Mm-hmm.
And they would take their superhero, whoever their superhero is, a Hulk Hogan type, whatever, and put him against him. That would be your WrestleMania main event. Go back and watch WWE. They're essentially doing the same thing, just trying to do it reality based. And it don't work.
It doesn't make sense because nothing really makes sense anymore. Everybody hates and the fucking man. Okay, the Attitude Era worked because everybody was on board with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole world was on board with a guy fighting up against his boss because everybody worked and everybody fucking hated their boss. Or hated the establishment, and that's
why
it got
could you imagine if they did the bang bang thing now with the gun, the 316 gun?
People would.
But this is the problem. Like, and like, creativity has been destroyed by the way the world is.
Yeah, people have sucked the fun out of the world.
Yeah, everything. You have to think about everything before you say anything. It's like, well, I might as well just eat a shotgun because, like, at this point in time, if I have to think about everything I say all the time, no, like, seriously, like, honestly, like, it's infuriating, man, because, like, if you can't be yourself because you don't adhere to this weird way the world is, where, like, the only thing acceptable is, like, accept everything and don't deny it.
Basement. I know it's completely off topic, but real quick, have you seen the new Dave Chappelle special?
Yes, and I loved it.
Yes, and he talks about the exact same shit that you're talking about right now. Like, if you can't make fun of somebody without them getting all fucking irate, or if you can't have in this instance, if you can't have fucking a woman take an RKO without people losing their shit, but yet they're demanding to see intergender matches. It's the same aspect.
We're in a place where nothing makes sense and everything's scrutinized. So you're not going to end up with a good product. You'll never end up with a good product as long as the world is this way.
Yep.
And NXT and AEW, for at least NXT for sure, takes itself out of this and focuses on the wrestling and story building. AEW is kind of like dip their toes in the pool of confusion.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't ruin them because I feel like it could.
Yeah. I'm of the proponent of. I've always said this. You can incorporate, and it doesn't have to be reality based. Like the Lana and Rusev and Bobby Lashley thing is based off of Temptation Island. You can tell.
Yep.
When
you try to build a wrestling show around promoting another show on the same network, you're fucked.
Well, and I feel like with wrestling, like especially with WWE, and we were just talking about this with Matt Riddle before, there's not enough wrestlers that are portraying part of themselves along in their character. Okay, like take Chad Gable, for example. Okay, everybody was saying how Chad Gable was too good. He should be getting more matches, blah, blah, blah. Then he takes on this Shorty G persona. Don't get me wrong. I hate this persona as well. But he's getting showcased more. And he's actually adapting to his character, and he's having fun with the character, so you can see a little bit of him coming out in his character.
I actually did want to touch on Shorty Gable here a little bit. People are upset. Did you know that The Miz helped him build his character?
I did. I read that earlier.
So there's some dudes like, this makes me sad that he is doing this character. I'm like, well, why is it making you sad? Are you upset that are you upset because Chad Gable is embracing this character?
Yeah, he said himself. Are you
sad? He's even said it himself.
He's gonna have fun with it. He
said, "I'm gonna sink my teeth into this." The thing is, with Vince McMahon, if you bring him serious shit, even Stone Cold, they had to do this. You bring me serious shit, I ain't gonna fucking listen to that. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be entertaining. That's what Vince is all about.
With the Stone Cold stuff.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, yes, he was a serious character, but look at the shit that they had him do. For fuck's
he
sake,
played the ukulele at some point.
I was just going to say, at one point in time, he was sitting next to Kurt Angle playing the ukulele in a tiny cowboy hat. There was that entertainment aspect of it. So I applaud Chad Gable for embracing his character.
But the other thing where you're like,
outfit is ridiculous though.
When we talked about Matt Riddle and being like, we love it because it's who he is. A lot of people, not just wrestlers, don't really know who they are. Yeah. So it's hard to amp up to 11 when what is 11? I don't even know what fucking 8 is.
Right. Yeah, and JP just said it earlier. Chad Gable said himself that he was being too serious because he thought that was what it was going to take in order for him to get his big shot. And it turns out that all he needed was a revamp of character and to just loosen up a little bit. And Vince is all on board. He's in more matches now. So if you're a true Chad Gable fan, you're not going to give a fuck what his name is or what he's wearing. He's in a match.
But the thing is, too, like a true Chad Gable, what are you a fan of? His wrestling. And you're going to see that regardless, and you're going to see it more. Do you prefer him being the character he was before, where he wore a headband and said nothing? Like, he's becoming something versus nothing. Yep. Yes, did he look ridiculous? But he's being showcased, like you said. And he's a guy that statement could work for 100%.
And you know what? I will be the first one to say I did. When they first did the Shorty G thing, I was angry. But now that I know a little bit of the background and I know that he is on board with this and this was actually his not necessarily idea, but he went along with the idea, and the Miz helped him, and he's embracing this character, then I'm 100% behind him. I didn't like it at first because I thought it was being shoved on him.
I feel like he's a guy that needs direction, and they've given him direction. Whatever the direction is, they've given him to him. Otherwise, he's never going to get over. He's not a Matt Riddle.
No, and he lost any sense of his direction once they split him and Jordan.
But I don't think he's ever had direction.
Here's the thing, and I heard this. He's world championship worthy. He was never going to win a world title. He was never going to get pushed anywhere near.
He's mid-card level.
I mean, you compare Chad Gable to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is much more world title capable than Chad Gable because he has a character.
Well, the thing is, wrestling-wise, yes, Chad Gable is probably championship material. But we talked about this before with the comparison between him and Kurt Angle. Him and Kurt Angle, wrestling-wise, they're close. Obviously, Kurt Angle pulls ahead quite a bit, but they're close. He has the capability, but what he lacks that Kurt Angle had was the mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm. And the mouthpiece is literally 80% of the job.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you lacked 80% but have 20%, I don't understand people that get upset about that.
And he proved that last night in his promo. He should never have a microphone in his hand.
It was so bad.
I'm okay. Okay, here's the thing. WWE does this, and like, I'll even with fucking Bailey, I'll shit on it, but like, they do this for a reason. They're at that point now where they put them on the main stage. They have to give them this is how they have to learn. You can't just learn behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll shit on it because it sucks, but
I kind of do blame NXT a little bit for this because, like, he was a tag team in NXT, so I get it. And what was his name? Jordan.
Jason Jordan.
Jason Jordan, thank you. He was more the mouthpiece for their tag team. So I get that they didn't really push him so much on the mic in NXT, but I feel like with all tag teams, they need to make sure that they are training both guys to be good on the mic, with mic skills, because sooner or later they are going to get split up.
Yep, I agree.
It's the one thing I don't get. It's like, for all the money and everything, like WWE treats their talents, or they should, like fucking any other sports company. You're putting millions of dollars into this person. Can you not send them to drama class? Can you not send them to acting school? Because it's literally more important than what they can do in the ring. You're hiring a bunch of guys that are great in the ring but can't speak a lick of fucking anything on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Send them to acting school. This is where they need to go. This is the next obvious progression.
Yep.
But they tried that with Roman Reigns, and the fans found out about it and shit all over it because it leaked that he was going to acting classes and stuff that. And then look what happened. They made him talk about.
Yeah, but you know why that sucks? You know why it sucks? Because you literally put him under a microscope before you sent him to acting classes.
Mm-hmm.
If they took a guy that nobody knows, who's in NXT, who's wrestled a couple matches, and also put him in acting classes at the same time, that's different. You take a guy that you're pushing to be the next John Cena and be like, well, maybe we should have done acting classes. So that's on them. It's fucking really stupid.
Yep.
But again, when Roman Reigns was down in developmental in NXT, he was part of a faction.
I don't think it matters what you're part of. It should be a prerequisite.
That's what I'm saying. Whether you're in a faction, you're singles, or you're in tag team, everybody should have to get those mic skills down.
You get hired, you get an NXT contract, you go to acting classes. And acting is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if you prove that you've gone to the classes and they're like, well, it's kind of shit, well, then you're kind of shit. That's what you're going to be as a wrestler. I'm sorry.
Right. So I just wanted to pose, that was a very good question, and I want to thank Chance for posing that question, because I mean, we talk about it a lot, but we never really discussed why he was so able to give us what he was back then as compared to now. And Basement is pretty much explain why, because the world is just the way the world is. They are never. The wrestling world will never be happy. There will come a time, and it will happen. I don't care what anybody fucking says because right now they're in the newlywed. I can't even think of the word. Newlywed stage. Yeah, of AEW. There will come a time where they're like, why the fuck are they booking this shit? It will happen. Yeah. It will happen. It's happened with every good wrestling show. I even do it with New Japan. Why are they booking this shit this way?
And it's sad for me to say, but like once there's another war in America and they need to focus on something else, like society will probably be better.
Yeah, that's one thing that, like, I love my country, but that's one thing that I absolutely hate is the fact that it takes a national tragedy in order to get all of us thinking on the same page.
But otherwise, it's just like cannibalistic nature for some reason.
Now, to be honest with you, you look back at it and everybody's right back to they're now
separated and against each other fighting.
Our country is so divided with the. And I don't want to get into politics.
But this is why everything suffers because of it. And like you might turn a blind eye to politics, but realistically, politics decides everything. Everything you're doing, and people are like, "I'm not going to vote." Fine, don't vote. But at the same time, everything you might complain about after this fact is literally what's happening politically.
Yep.
And voting's not going to fix that. But still, probably a good idea to vote. But still, fuck it. I don't know. All I'm saying is, with the world so confused, what do you expect wrestling to not be confused?
Agreed. The world is what it is. We're just going to have to deal with it. Wrestling is going to be wrestling. It will happen. AEW will get shit on for booking something so horribly.
And if anything has taught me anything, eventually the world will get behind another ideal that's the same as fuck the boss. Mm-hmm. And it's literally going to end up with the boss fucking you. But until that happens, I mean, it's cyclical in nature, man.
Yeah. So the last question that I have, and I wish Heather was out here. She's trying to get one. Which women's division is the better women's division?
I gotta pee really badly.
Go ahead.
NXT.
Are we splitting NXT?
See, do we have to?
Hands down, WWE in general, best women's division out there.
I agree. I don't split NXT from the SmackDown and Raw because it's WWE.
Right, it's a WWE product.
And the people that are out there will. Because I had this discussion, not even a discussion, I seen this, and I had to respond to this person because they're just dumb. Like, I'm not going to watch WWE. I'm going to take a break from WWE this week. I'm only going to watch AEW and NXT.
Yeah,
so you're taking
NXT
a break
is
from WWE, so you're not watching NXT this week? Oh, no, yeah. I'm still going to watch NXT, but you just said you weren't going to watch WWE. Well, it's a different brand. No, it's not. It's the same fucking company.
Yeah.
The same fucking people are fucking doing the shows. Triple H is there for Raw and SmackDown. For those of you that don't know it, he is there. He's just not level. He is allowed to do what he does on NXT because Vince trusts Triple H. But Triple H is under Vince when it comes to Raw and SmackDown. And to be honest with everybody, and I'll get to you guys on this. To be honest with you, when Vince does step down, I don't think it's going to change as much as everybody thinks.
It won't change at all.
No, because
and it won't even be Triple H taking over. It'll be Stephanie.
It has nothing to do with who owns the company.
No.
They still have the same people that they have to.
Exactly.
People are looking at Raw and SmackDown turning into NXT. No. The only reason NXT works is because it's not as big as Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And well, NXT, whether they're in Full Sail or they're traveling or whatever, they're able to get more of that crowd reaction because it is a smaller stadium. Of course, if you have a stadium that fits, let's say, 14,000 people, okay, and it's sold out, that stadium full of 14,000 people is going to sound loud as fuck compared to a stadium with 72,000 people, because
even
it's a
without the
bigger
crowd,
stadium
though,
and people are spread out more.
the only hope I have is for more cohesive storyline. That's literally the only thing I will think will change. And I think that's enough for people to like it.
That's my only gripe with WWE right now, is their storylines. Like, the wrestling, there's never been a problem with the wrestling.
Yep.
The problem is, like, with both networks being, if a network's going to give you so much money, they're also going to expect something back, not just viewership. It's like, well, we need you. We're going to have this show come out on USA, so can you have a segment that's kind of like this show so that we can drum up viewership for people that want to see that kind of stuff?
Well,
and the same thing will happen with Fox.
You take Fox, for example. What happened that first episode of SmackDown?
Exactly.
They had the entire NFL team, Fox team, on SmackDown. So
Right.
they were not only bringing light to SmackDown, but they were also saying, "Hey, we got football on Fox on Sundays. Come over and watch us." Blah blah blah.
If
Fox
a network
is benefiting in many ways.
The network is in control, 100%.
Yeah, but as
because
far as like
they own, for the most part, they paid for the product they're showing. So please, we're gonna use it in a commercial way, even when commercials aren't being shown.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as like the women's roster, WWE hands down has the best women's roster. I'm gonna say out there. I know like WoW is really good and stuff like that as well, but like in general, WWE has the best roster because they have so many different talents with so many different weapons of choice, so to speak.
So for me,
do we have to choose
just WWE. I don't put Stardom or Shimmer or WoW into that category because they're an all women's wrestling show. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can't really put them in there. I mean, you could. I'd still say WWE.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to choose WWE and I'm going to encapsulate fucking Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, they have a better women's division than most fucking rosters have a better roster.
Now, I will say that I will say AEW has a couple of talents that are good.
But
like Riho, she's good. But put Riho up against one of the
women's champion.
You put Riho up against Bayley or Becky Lynch, and she
Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai.
Yeah, you put Riho up against
Baszler.
It's done.
I'm gonna say put Riho against the top tier talents of WWE. No,
it's not a candle.
Now, granted, a lot of AEW women's roster is still very young yet, so they do have time to blossom into whatever they're going to become. But to touch on the when we were talking before about like NXT with the smaller venues and stuff, Adam Hughes actually just messaged me and he said that one of the bosses over at Impact actually said that they only do smaller venues now because it sounds better.
Yeah, you don't need these big fucking arenas. You don't.
Wrestling is not. It's not a football. It's not a basketball. It's not a baseball. It realistically, like, the dimming of the crowd and that like theatrical feel you get from it from a smaller audience it adds to the product. We don't need them to fill up the fucking Superdome.
Which is why NXT feels like everybody feels like they have more of an emotional connection with NXT because it has that smaller kind of homey feeling.
You also only allow people that are kind of like enamored with the product to be there. When you have tickets of a certain amount, you're going to sell it constantly. But you're going to get the fans that add to the product. And they should be more concerned with what they're doing on TV versus filling seats. Because filling seats doesn't equate to the same amount of money they're going to make off of television on the network and anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that if they would move, like if they would take Raw and SmackDown and move them to smaller venues, I think that they would have probably a much better reaction to their shows.
I will say, like, even Raw and SmackDown here in Toronto doesn't fill the big venue. We don't like the Sky Dome, which is renamed now, but like that's where it was when it was WrestleMania. But when Raw and SmackDown come to town, they go to the smaller venue where the basketball team plays, and it's fine, honestly, because you can be in the nosebleeds and you can see pretty good. Like it's just built really strong in terms of viewership.
That's the way it is with the Target Center in Minneapolis too. Like when I went for TLC, I was in the nosebleed section. Like I was like 3 rows away from being on the outside of the building.
Yeah, I mean,
and I could still see perfectly, like perfectly.
You can.
But there's those old school fucking arenas that house like 100,000 people. That should be WrestleMania and WrestleMania alone.
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to sell it out.
Yep.
Everything else should be smaller arenas because that's where it belongs.
Yep, I agree. So back onto the point that we were trying to get at. Heather just came out of so I would like to, but
the best women's roster. Who's your best women's roster? I'm not saying WWE. I'm saying the exact fucking promotion.
I am WWE hands down.
Okay, so separate Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Oh, NXT.
We're not doing that.
If you were doing that, that's a tough one. Because
that is tough.
Yeah.
I
feel like it's not fair to do that though, because like you have so many great talents. Like you've got Charlotte on one show, and Becky on another show, and then you've got Sasha on one show, and then you've got fucking everybody down in
SmackDown.
NXT.
I think SmackDown.
I disagree. I think Raw has the better.
Who's on Raw?
Charlotte, Becky, I think Natalia.
Yep.
What's her face? Women's right.
Asuka.
She's on SmackDown, I think.
Is she on SmackDown?
Asuka and Kairi Sane's on Raw.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Raw. You might be right.
Raw is the better roster in WWE, but as a whole, WWE has the best. You hold not one candle. I mean, Impact has Tessa Blanchard, but she's always fighting fucking guys. So what the fuck?
And Jordan Grace is starting to do the same thing.
Well, and NXT has the best utilized women's division.
Yes.
I agree with that. I was just going to say, actually, that I think if we're breaking it down separately, the only one that could maybe compete with Raw would be the NXT women's division.
I think it's just utilized because the whole fucking women's roster was on Raw beforehand, or on NXT beforehand.
Yeah. Ring of Honor. Cares.
I literally don't know anybody that's on that roster.
I mean, I know some of the guys.
Sky, I can't even think of the.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Well, most of them are pretty well known. Them two are pretty well known. That's about it. Impact would be better if Tessa Blanchard actually wrestled in her own fucking division instead of trying to prove that she can fight in the women's division.
I mean, I like the matches that she does, but I would like to see her wrestle in women's matches as well.
Well, this is going to be a huge negative for New Japan.
Well, they actually, Stardom is owned by the same company that New Japan.
Do you think they're going to combine the two for the North American audience?
I have a feeling that they will.
They may, because there was a tweet put out there. Somebody asked, "Who owns New Japan?" And Stardom put out, "Well, if you didn't know, Bushiroad owns New Japan, and we are now owned by Bushiroad." So that being said, I don't know if they'll incorporate women's in women's division for New Japan, But
if they're gonna come across seas, they're gonna have to.
I
They're
was
gonna-
just
I
gonna
agree.
say if they do New
I
Japan America, they're gonna have to do.
I
They're gonna have
agree.
to. Otherwise, it's gonna be detrimental to them if they don't.
I still think WWE's better.
Oh yeah. Well, as a whole, they have the best women's roster known to mankind.
Because
That's-
and I'll say this now, a lot of the women that came to WWE came from Stardom.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you look at Bianca Belair would be probably women's champion in AEW.
She would
Yeah.
be the women's champion in AEW.
So this is what I'm saying. Is like the roster. It's if we're going to compare WWE to AEW to any other company, WWE is going to blow them out of the water.
And it's no disrespect to Riho. She is 22
Yeah,
years old. She is a
absolutely.
very good talent.
This
However,
is long. The thing is, WWE's late to the party for certain things, but they take their time planning it. They amassed a huge amount of really good women's talent, and then 3 to 4 years later, they had
You
the
know
women's
what, though?
revolution.
Like I was saying earlier, like AEW, their women's roster is still very, very, very young. Like most of them are in their early to mid 20s.
All right,
So
but what I'm watching is
they have a lot of time to get better.
But here's the thing: if you, I would be okay with that if they had developmental. I just
would
feel
be
like
too.
they launched a very soft dick women's division.
Yeah, but I mean, they couldn't exactly launch the product without a women's division at all.
Well, they could have.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should have. But I also think they should have kind of got better talent.
I agree.
They literally had the idea, and then the idea took form,
Well,
and then they made a company, and then a year took place, and then they had regular TV shows.
But here's what I don't understand. Okay, Penelope Ford. I don't know if you guys have ever seen her wrestle, but she's actually pretty goddamn good in the ring. But I've only seen her actually wrestle in the ring for AEW once.
Yeah.
This is my frustration. I actually think they have better women's wrestlers that they haven't showcased on the TV show, which kills me. It's like I've literally seen 4 women wrestle, and it's been 4 shows.
Me too.
Why? Why is this happening? Why is Riho fighting constantly?
Real quick, Adam just told me that WWE had wanted to buy Stardom and merge it with Noah from NXT Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
I'm saying if Japan shows up without a women's division, it's even harder. They're in a place where it's not going to work.
Heather, what about you? Best women's division?
Oh, WWE.
You think now as a whole? Now, as we talked, if you were to disperse the 3, one's better. Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. Keep in mind who they have on Raw.
And NXT.
On SmackDown.
I mean, NXT, they have...
NXT.
It's the best
has
utilized
some-
talent.
If you were... Just give me a second, but if... I'll let you go here in a second. If you were to put Becky, Bayley, and Shayna Baszler in a ring together, who do you think would come out on top?
Shayna Baszler.
No.
Becky.
Go ahead.
NXT has a lot of potential with their up and coming stars. Now, granted, they have some of the more experienced women like Candice LeRae as well on their roster.
Yeah, and Io Shirai. I mean,
But
I know she's
don't-
young, but she's got
don't-
quite a bit of experience.
The thing is, don't think about how they're utilized.
Just you mean just pure talent alone?
Yeah, pure talent alone.
Becky is more talented than Shayna Baszler.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shayna Baszler kind of reminds me of like a vase just coming out and standing there.
If you took all the women on WWE's roster, you could easily put on a really good show weekly.
Evolution.
No, weekly.
This is what I didn't understand when they did. I know I'm going off on a tangent again. I'm sorry, but when they did Evolution, I did not understand it because instead of taking the women that they had on the roster and showcasing them and them alone, they started bringing back veterans.
I hated Evolution because Evolution was a cash grab. It was Saudi Arabia, but with women.
With that, they had that battle royale. So if they had done that with just the talent they have now, there would have been no other match whatsoever.
Evolution was a cash grab. It wasn't showcasing talent. It was showcasing how we can make money.
Well, I understand the battle royale, like bringing back,
no.
old talent for
Michelle
that.
McCool.
I get that. Well, I get that. But
I don't get that.
What I was more signaling at was, don't get me wrong, I love Trish and I love Lita, but there was the Trish and Lita match against, I can't even remember who they fought against, but it was Alexa Bliss and somebody was, or no, Alexa Bliss got hurt.
It was Sasha.
So I didn't watch it.
And the reason
being is in that match because Alexa got hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be Trish Stratus versus Alexa Bliss. But like that was my main issue because like I understand how important Lita and Trish were for the women's division. I understand it completely. I love them too. But I just felt like that main event should have been in order to build upon the active roster and build upon a storyline.
Because you're looking to build actual wrestling, not money.
Yeah.
And it was Saudi Arabian presents women. Bottom line is I didn't watch it because it's akin to being like, have you ever wanted to see a 99%, actually 100% tag team pay-per-view? Or 100% intercontinental tag? Like,
Heather, what were you saying?
With that match, I viewed it more as a passing of the torch kind of match. It was with the wrong people on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that should have been Charlotte and Becky.
Absolutely.
But that's kind of how I viewed that match because it did have at least one person that was currently active.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the passing of the torch match happened at SummerSlam, but I get what you're saying.
The pay-per-view shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't have.
No, it shouldn't.
No.
It shouldn't have. It was a let's do this thing because
it was Saudi Arabia.
Not only that, but if you guys remember, like that was at a point in time where like WoW and like Stardom and all those all-women wrestling promotions were getting a lot of momentum.
Well, Stardom.
It's the same. It's not empowering to not include. Empowerment doesn't mean seclusion.
Yeah. And another reason why they did that was just because that was the first Saudi Arabia show and the women weren't allowed to go to Saudi Arabia, so they had to give the women something.
It just fuck Saudi Arabia. I hate it anyway. But like, I was never gonna watch Evolution.
Yep. Well, we did, and
like
I streamed it on my channel. And it got close to 10,000 views. So.
Yep.
Trek, what about you?
I'd say WWE. If you have to separate them as Raw, then I'd say NXT, then SmackDown. If you have to separate them.
Bobbit, are you with us?
He's been muted for like ages.
His mom's been
I am.
Oh, there we go.
So, what is the best women's division in wrestling today?
Honestly, Raw.
I agree wholeheartedly. But as a whole, WWE is by far, and go ahead and fucking at me. I do not care, and I will just laugh at you. The next person that comes at me and says that fucking Britt Baker is better than anybody WWE has.
Oh my God!
I just want to come find you. I want to come find you and hit you in the face with a cast iron fucking frying pan. Because you are the dumbest motherfucker on Twitter.
Basement loves her limbs.
I fucking hate her. Yeah, I hate her 100%.
She is the worst woman's wrestler.
She is the world's first T-Rex dentist.
If she was,
terrible.
If she was worth anything, WWE would have fucking signed her to a fucking contract.
Okay, so the immediate thing I think of, and I hate her anyway. I've seen her in ring. She literally like split her time between becoming a dentist and becoming a wrestler. So she's probably not good at either of them.
Well, okay, here's the
in
thing.
my honest opinion.
But here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand. Anybody that watched All In, she was a part of that. What was it, a triple threat or a fatal four-way? I can't remember. Triple threat. She was a part of that triple threat fucking women's match, and that match was actually a great fucking match, and she did so amazing in that match. But you see that.
I agree
but
with
wait,
it at all.
But you see that match versus what you're seeing from her now, and it's like,
her inadequacies was hidden by everybody else.
Exactly.
Like, would you accept a fucking root canal from T-Rex?
But I mean, like, who was she in that match with? She was in that match with Chelsea Green, and who was the other person?
Bea Priestley?
No, it wasn't Bea
that
Priestley.
Was a tag match track.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember who the other person was, but like the two.
Regardless, I've seen her wrestle twice. She's shit. She's fucking shit. She's garbage. I hate her.
I don't know.
Anyways, speaking of Kylie Ray, what the hell is with her?
She was in the ring with Allie.
Allie, that's what it was. Right, yeah. So you've got Chelsea Green and Allie wrestling with her, and all three of those girls are really close friends in real life, so they had that connection with each other. And not only that, but those two are amazing wrestlers, and they're really good at making other people look good. So that's probably why Britt was able to look as good as she was in All In.
Remember King when he was Isaac Yankem?
Yes.
So that's the, like, as shitty as it was, that's the way to make a gimmick be a gimmick. I don't really know what I'm looking at, because her gimmick is, I went to school and I can't wrestle and I'm a T-Rex. Like, what am I going to do? You can't wrestle. You went to school. If you went to school for dentistry, why aren't you a dentist?
Right. She is a dentist.
Ew, so why isn't she a dentist?
She is a dentist every other day of the week.
So why is she wrestling?
Every day of the week that she is not wrestling, she is in her dental office in Orlando.
Okay, well,
wait, is it in Orlando or Pittsburgh? I can't remember. I think it's Orlando.
She should stick to her day job.
I agree.
But
what were you saying about? Oh, go ahead, JP. Sorry.
Just fucking say anything. Fucking go.
She's a terrible wrestler. I fucking hate her. Her arms don't work. She's fucking weird looking.
Oh, Kylie Ray. I was just like, it was weird how she got her release granted from AEW, and then also we all thought that it was like some kind of medical issue or something, but then all of a sudden she bam, hello, I'm in Impact.
Well, it's because I can almost guarantee you that she wasn't going to be pushed, and she's like, well, if you aren't going to use me, then please release me.
Mm-hmm. That makes
goodbye forever.
She tweeted out herself that at one point or another, or it was in an interview, I can't remember which, but she said herself there was a disagreement about something with another star backstage, and she asked for her release.
It's probably Britt.
Oh, so she's not Smiley Kylie all the time.
No, she's not.
I have a feeling that Smiley Kylie is probably more along the lines of bitch Kylie. I'm just gonna say.
Probably. I just want to see this. Ring of Honor is having certain problems in back, and I'll be surprised if they last the next 5 years, because I think they're going to shit.
Yeah. We all said
Ring of Honor is just having problems in general, and that's why New Japan got away from them.
They have Bully Ray fucking taking fans in the back and telling them, "Hey, you be nice to the wrestlers."
Bully Ray needs to shut his fucking mouth.
Yeah,
I hate that dude. I hate him.
You know
I literally hate him.
He did that because it was his girlfriend.
I don't give a fuck.
I'm not. No. Hold on.
Hold on. Shit.
Don't shoot the messenger, because I don't agree with it either. But I'm just saying that was why he got so pissed about it. It was his girlfriend.
Bully Ray is a loudmouth dumbass. Honestly, everything I've ever seen from this asshole is just like he connects in wrestling in the terms that his wrestler connected with wrestling. Like, he was almost retarded.
And it's bad when at the Dudley Boys Hall of Fame, you could tell that Devon Dudley he did not want to be up there with him. You could tell.
Here's the thing.
Not a fan of him at all.
No. The fan said, and I can't remember what the fan said.
He basically called her a whore.
But
so
here's the thing: if
Well,
you
he was
come out,
he was grabbing on him too. That's
if
why
you
he
come,
got
I
pissed.
don't. That
I hate this. I hate this grabbing on thing, man. Because there's like you can literally say 99% of wrestlers get grabbed upon. Men, women, doesn't matter.
No, this was bad. Like if you watch
Anyway.
the
You said
video,
this about the other one, and I didn't see anything bad about it.
no, the guy, like, he was literally calling him a whore and all this stuff, and the guy literally grabbed her tit, like flat out, like full palm, grabbed her fucking tit. And that's when Bully Ray came out and was like, hey. And I want to get something straight, by the way. He didn't take the fan in the back, and he wasn't like, you better not fucking do that anymore. No, he was very polite to the fan.
Who got their tit grabbed?
One of the girls. One of the girl wrestlers, like, they both
either way.
But he was respectful to the fan in back. Like there were witnesses that said that he was not screaming at the guy or anything like that. He just said,
but here's again, who were these witnesses? Wrestlers?
It was caught on camera.
Oh, then where's it put it? Because I'm hearing two different stories.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. You know, you see the fans says one side of the story, but then the wrestlers are saying another side of the story.
Yeah, I am definitely not going to be on Bully Ray's side because the guy is
just a douchebag.
Either way, what the fan said, and the guy said he was playing along with what she was doing, and he said, "Stop acting like a whore." Well, if she would stop acting like a whore when she is out there.
Do you remember the good old Dave Chappelle segment?
I love Dave Chappelle.
Well, if you dress like a whore and you act like a whore.
I mean, she's playing a fucking character.
And if your character's a whore.
But she's playing a character, and she's playing a sleazy. I don't even.
I mean, this is what I hate about like it comes back to like society. Everything's fucked because like I want to be like I'm gonna fucking dress like a whore. I'm gonna act like a whore, and somebody touches me like a whore. No, God damn it! I don't agree with like wrestling fans. Let me precursor. I don't agree with wrestling fans touching wrestlers to begin with. I would never do it.
I wouldn't.
I'm not the person that was going to pat somebody on the back. Hold
on. There's a huge. First of all, there's a huge difference between patting somebody on the back and grabbing somebody's fucking tit or their ass or whatever. But you guys are also respectful fans. That's a huge difference.
I'd fucking yell.
Yeah, but I feel like the men and women face the same disrespectful fans.
Oh my god,
both the male and female fan base.
I have seen male.
Have you
fucking catcalled worse than any female wrestler?
Okay, so have you seen it actually like to this level?
What level?
In terms of like, people are talking about it. It's all over Twitter.
Oh no, because that never happens with the male wrestlers. But
it happens with the male wrestlers.
No. I don't mean like. I don't mean it doesn't happen. I mean it does happen, but according to Twitter, it doesn't happen.
But like here's the thing. Why?
Because there's a double standard, basement. There's a double standard. That's okay, what it is.
I don't give a shit then. If there's a double standard where things are treated differently because you're a man or a woman, everybody wants to be the same.
But what I'm saying is, as a woman, and I do this myself all the time, but I have seen so many women say horrible things that they would do to a male wrestler, like graphic, in detail things, and nobody says anything. Nobody bats an eye.
There are people. Everybody's
but basement. If you were to go and say all these horrible things, the same shit about a female wrestler, you would be destroyed.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is basically like people are people, man or woman. They're going to be as shitty as they're going to be.
Yeah.
Men and women are equally shitty. But the problem is, like, I feel like there's this, like, double standard, like you're saying, for, like, men in the audience doing something and say, oh my God, he's raping her! It's like, no, he's not. He touched her, and it's rape all of a sudden? Like, fuck, man, I've seen people be, like, way handsy with male wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you willing to report it culture? And fuck that shit. It's on TV. Can you see it? Is it happening? Okay, how do you feel about it?
I mean,
and I do want to say this though, considering all but if you go back and look at all the ECW stuff, if you can find the old uncensored ECW, Bubba Ray used to say nasty ass shit. I mean, some of the stuff he said, he's like,
He still does.
He needs to shut his fucking mouth, because as a wrestler, he would never cut it today.
He was mad because the guy said you have to sleep with that fat slob. That's why he was mad.
He's only a wrestler today because he built himself off of something popular.
Yeah.
In my honest opinion. Yeah, agreed.
Well, that being said, I think we've hit the 3 hour and 25-minute mark.
Holy fuck, you guys.
Well, I told you. Discussion happens and we just go off on a fucking tangent. Everything that we talk about, we could be talking about fucking having a cheeseburger and it fucking turns into a discussion about fucking a
equality.
It turns into a discussion about a fucking
that shit better be plant-based.
Oh, good lord.
So, but whatever, it happens. So, everybody, I would like to thank everybody for being here again. It's always fun talking wrestling with you guys, of course. Like I said, on my channel, I will not be doing Raw or SmackDown anymore. I still will be watching. Just because, but I won't have to.
So you're going to do AEW on Wednesdays and the next day on Thursday?
I am going to do AEW on Wednesdays, and then I'm going to do NXT the next night. I will still be doing the pay-per-views. So we'll always do the pay-per-views. They're more fun to me because we can sit and shit all over them and have fun with it. I just sit there and look at the fucking TV screen and just want to fucking stab myself repeatedly in the face with a soldering iron.
I agree.
So, be looking for that. It'll be fun. Why not do the 2 best shows but still do the pay-per-views? Fuck, I paid the $9.99 for it. Fuck it. Right. Don't forget to join us here once a week where we do Wrestling Memories. We're up to October of 95. We're getting close to survive. Well, actually, this next week we have Halloween Havoc. I cannot wait. 1995. Monster Truck Extravaganza.
The Yeti.
Yeti, motherfucker.
Monster Trucks, yay!
Kill me now.
I think
that paper might.
Shut the fuck up. And then Thursday nights they have. I think the basement does Telltale games, and then who knows? We might pop on, or these guys might pop on, depending on how late it is, because I do have to work during the week. Early in the morning, these guys do, like last week they did the career mode for WWE 2K20.
Yeah.
Apparently a seat sinking.
Oh, that was fucking hilarious.
Oh God.
No.
So,
but I feel like,
and I almost peed myself. So it was
I feel like a lot of people that are like up in arms are the same people that are up in arms for everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's shit. Yes, we understand, but it's like I've played the game enough to know now that like all of the frustrations with glitches, it's no different than the last couple games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not at least on PS4. If you're playing on a different platform, then it's been shit. You play on PC, it's been shit for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we made Gina almost pee her pants last week. The goal is to get that to happen.
No, like I just made it to the bathroom in time. I just made it to the bathroom, and I had 2 asthma attacks too. So you guys are trying to kill me.
So
2K20 is a mess, but you know it is what it is.
Be looking out for content. Then watch this show every week, Saturday night. Hopefully, we can get it down to like a 2-hour show or an hour and a half show.
Yeah, everybody, shut the fuck up, motherfuckers.
Nope, not gonna happen. It's gonna be 4 hours long from here until infinity.
You know what the fucked up part is, though? This group of people, especially me, Heather, JP, and Basement, because we are so opinionated, we can have the exact same, like, we can be in agreement on something, but yet we still find a way to argue about it.
Yep. Same here.
Sometimes, most of the time, it's just like fucking discussing it.
Rick, you agree with everything everybody says. Like, if I say it's blue, if I say it's blue, you're like, yeah, I agree. And then if Basement says it's red, you're like, yep, I agree with that too. What the fuck?
No, he has his opinions as well, but
when he gets angry, that's the best.
You know what though? Like Trek has his opinions, but I say this all the time. I love when he quote unquote gets angry about something, because that's him getting passionate about something. And I love that.
I feel like when he gets angry, he does like the it's gonna sound bad, but like the woman tactic of being like personal about it. I'm angry. I remember back in '76 when this bitch did this and she hated the fans. I love it too. I love it too, though. I love it as well. I love it as well.
Oh my god.
So that being said, be looking out for content coming out on this channel and other channels that we are all associated with. So we will talk to you next week. I'm going to go to bed now because...
Did you ever just say plop?
Plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Oh, everybody have a great night.
Bubba Ray sucks.
Yeah, fuck. Fucking Bubba Ray. Fuck that clown. Whatever. He's just